Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. When I was chased at the beginning, I opened Mangekyō in seconds. Chapter 81. Nagato was lost in thought. Is there really no love for no reason in this world? Of course he didn't believe that the teacher was taking advantage of him, but what he said was indeed true. There were so many war orphans. Why? The teacher just chose me. Is it because of my immortal eyes? Have to say, Nagato is too young at this stage. And Uchiha Madara's personal presence is much more intimidating than Obito's disguise. Although Nagato will not doubt the teacher. But I fell into a tangled state mentally. However, just when Uchiha Madara wanted to continue to provoke, Yahiko stood up and looked into Nagato's eyes. Nagato, Uchiha Madara's words are not credible. If the teacher really wanted Rinnegan, he would have done it when you were young. Teacher is very kind to us. Even if he really wants Rinnegan, if teacher really wants to replace you and become the savior of this world, then why not give it to him? Just treat your elders as filial piety. But for so many years, the teacher has treated us without reservation. It is impossible for him to ask for anything from the juniors, even these immortal eyes. Nagato, don't be stupid. Even when the teacher said the words of asking for Rinnegan, in my opinion, it was just to confuse Uchiha Madara and protect you in disguise. After all, the person in front of you has ulterior motives for you. Teacher has such good intentions, how can you hesitate? Yes, Yahiko, you are right. Nagato cheered up again and said with firm eyes, teacher has been very kind to me, taught me almost all advanced ninjutsu, and helped me awaken the power of Rinnegan. How can I doubt the teacher so much? These immortal eyes bring me not only responsibility, but also pain and suffering. If the teacher really wants it, then I, Nagato, don't mind if he takes it away. Uchiha Madara, don't try to provoke us master and disciple. Uchiha Madara's face darkened. He fixed his gaze on Yahiko, and his heart became colder and colder. It seems that the key point is this orange-haired boy. Nagato is simple-minded and easy to fool, but Yahiko has his own opinions. And Nagato also completely followed Yahiko's advice. If Yahiko hadn't caused trouble just now, he could have planted the seeds of doubt, and it wouldn't take long for Nagato to surrender. Now, it's all destroyed by Yahiko. He desperately wants to eradicate Yahiko and darken Nagato just like Obito. But now his lifespan is very short, and his clone is no longer as powerful as it was 10 years ago, so there is no way to do it himself. It took a lot of effort to get Danzo to come, but it turned out that this guy was also a fool. It was enough to just start a fight with Nagato, but he actually ended up committing suicide and sealing an ocean. It was so stupid that he was hopelessly stupid. This is embarrassing. He has no reliable people at all. Uchiha Madara thought for a moment, changed her strategy, and said leisurely, whether it is you or Uchiha Kagami, if you want to maintain peace on your own, it will inevitably lead to war, and to protect love, you will breed hatred. It goes on and on like this, love and hate alternate. The ninja world can never be peaceful, and the world's cause and effect cannot be cut off. Nagato, you are too naive. Neither the Akatsuki organization nor the major ninja villages can change it. Then how do you think it will change? Before Nagato could post, Yahiko said with a smile, could it be to create a false world? To use some kind of illusion to cover the whole world, let everyone be immersed in the illusion to achieve peace. Is this, the great Uchiha Madara's salvation plan? Or is it Project Tsuki no Mi? Yes, it seems that Uchiha Kagami has already explained it to you. Do you think you agree with it? Uchiha Madara looks calm on the surface. But I cursed in my heart, Uchiha Kagami. You promised to keep it secret at first, but then you turned around and told others. You are a guy who doesn't keep your word. No. Not at all. Yahiko shook his head and sneered. What's the use of a false world? The teacher told us that such a world, even if it is beautiful, is destined to not last long, because the ninja world not only has internal troubles but also external troubles. When the whole world falls into the world of illusions, who will resist the threats from the outside? How ridiculous. The majestic Uchiha Madara, your mind and structure are so narrow, no wonder the teacher has always looked down on you. Foreign aggression. What's the meaning? Uchiha Madara was a little confused. I don't know what the other person is talking about. When infinite Tsukuyomi is activated, the world will be completely peaceful. Where will the external trouble come from? Haha, No comment. Yahiko showed a mysterious smile. But in fact, the three of them only had a rough idea of the guilty group. When they were young, they lived with their teacher and occasionally mentioned it. But they actually had no way of knowing what kind of foreign trouble it was. But then I got some inside information from Minato. Although the content is not too scrawled, it at least proves that the teacher has a long-term vision, which is far beyond what Uchiha Madara can match. Certainly, on the one hand it is also Uchiha Madara herself who was blinded by Black Zetsu. If Black Zetsu, a dutiful son, hadn't stabbed him in the back, Uchiha Madara, a generational tycoon, wouldn't have been hastily dismissed. Yahiko looked at Uchiha Madara and said calmly, "You are now a well-known figure, so stop engaging in these conspiracies. As long as I am here, I will not let you get close to Nagato." "Really, boy, then you have to keep an eye on him." Uchiha Madara smiled outwardly, but the murderous intention in his heart became stronger and stronger. It seems that this orange-haired boy cannot be kept. As long as Yahiko is alive, Nagato can't turn black. If he can't turn black, he can't surrender. If he can't surrender, then his resurrection will be far away. But now is not the time. You have to find a perfect opportunity and some helpers. And Uchiha Kagami must be distracted. This time he must succeed, no one can stop him. And Nagato and the others knew that each other was a clone. There was no obstruction and the other party was allowed to leave, and the three of them returned to the Rain Shinobi village tower. They were all sitting on the tip of the tower, looking down at the torrential rain in Rain Shinobi village, and they all felt exhausted. Don't look at how calm they were just now. But after all, that person is Uchiha Madara, so it is impossible to say that she is not a coward. If Nagato hadn't realized that the other person was a clone, the three of them might have run away as soon as they met. There would have been no confrontation at all. "Nagato, I still have to rely on you." Yahiko felt a little frustrated. "My strength is too weak. If I hadn't just discovered that he was not his true form, otherwise I wouldn't have had the courage to dare to confront such a legendary figure for so long." Nagato patted his shoulder, smiled and consoled him. "Okay, everyone has a clear division of labor." Uchiha Madara's words are so sharp. I am stupid and can't understand. If it weren't for you, I might not be able to turn around. "Okay, where is the teacher? Have you replied to us?" Conan asked suddenly. "I don't know, it seems like I haven't. I am coming." Before Yahiko could finish speaking, there was a flash of red light in the air, and Uchiha Kagami appeared. The three people immediately stood up and said with extremely excited expressions, "Teacher, just now. Uchiha Madara is here, we. Okay, thank you for your hard work, I know everything." Uchiha Kagami rubbed Yahiko's hair and said with satisfaction, "Yahiko did a good job and was able to keep up with Uchiha Madara's verbal confrontation. It seems that making you the leader of Rain Shinobi Village is indeed the most suitable choice." "Hey, I was just talking casually." Yahiko blushed. Nagato seemed to blame himself, lowered his head and said, "I'm sorry, teacher, I shouldn't have doubted you so much. Uchiha Madara was clearly the instigator, but I couldn't tell the difference." "No, I did say that I want to take your Rinnegan," Uchiha Kagami said frankly. "Ah, then teacher, I will pay you my respects. Look at you, of course you said this to trick Uchiha Madara. Do you know why I did this?" "I don't understand." Nagato scratched his head in confusion. Yahiko smiled and expressed his guess. "Uchiha Madara wants to use infinite Tsukuyomi to bring peace to the world. He must need your Rinnegan, so the teacher said this, to protect you, right?" "Oh, okay, Yahiko, have you guessed this?" Uchiha Kagami was surprised. Because although he told part of the inside story, but as one of the conditions for the use of infinite Tsukuyomi, Rinnegan did not reveal it at all. Unexpectedly, Yahiko guessed it himself. It is enough to show that Yahiko's brain is very good. And as long as he is not so idealistic at first, he can become a qualified leader. "Haha, teacher, am I awesome?" Yahiko said proudly. "Awesome, but that's not the point of what I'm going to say. What I'm going to say next, please remember to keep it secret, especially Nagato, you have to be mentally prepared." Mirror said. "Okay, teacher." The three of them looked solemn. "First of all, I said that because this pair of Rinnegan is Uchiha Madara's, and Nagato was transplanted the day after tomorrow. Uchiha Kagami said slowly. He approached you in order to make Nagato surrender to him. And resurrect himself with the Rinne Tensai technique. You are all young and immature in mind, and can be easily deceived. Especially Nagato has a simple mind. I just said that to make him confused. On the other hand, I also considered that he might use this to provoke us, but him coming in person. I didn't expect it. But it's enough to show that he has run out of tricks. The Rinnegan belongs to Madara. Nagato was a little confused. He thought he was the savior. In the end, this savior was donated by others. How could he accept this? Uchiha Kagami looked solemn and said, Nagato, don't think too much. These eyes are on you. No matter who the original owner is, then you are a well-deserved savior. I understand, sensei. Nagato nodded. Then teacher, what is Uchiha Madara going to do next? Yahiko asked. It's very simple. Nagato is an important part of his resurrection plan, so it is indispensable. But as long as you are here, Nagato will not be able to go dark, so he will definitely attack you. Uchiha Kagami said firmly. As long as you die, in some accident, Nagato is destined to hate the world, so we have to guard against it. Danzo was killed by Nagato. Uchiha Madara has no other people. With you here, we don't have to be afraid of him at all. Yahiko vowed. No, Uchiha Madara will definitely try every means to hinder me so that I can't come to help you, in order to prevent this from happening. Uchiha Kagami looked calm and said, Yahiko, you need to fake your death once. The plan is like this, such and such, and then you can reap the benefits. No matter how smart Uchiha Madara is, she will never think of our plan. Awesome, teacher, this plan is perfect. Yahiko praised. And Nagato. You have something to do too. Teacher, please give me your instructions. I need to wait until Yahiko dies, and you become Uchiha Madara's chess piece. Remember to make him believe that you will resurrect him with Rinne Tensai technique. Why do you do this? Nagato said he didn't understand. Obviously, you are a spy. Nagato, you are so stupid. Oh, I'll try my best. It's not as good as your best. Let's improve our acting skills. Jing said worriedly. Yeah, I will, sensei. Nagato nodded. Conan raised his little hand and said cautiously, then teacher, are we really going to resurrect Uchiha Madara? Yes, I really want to be resurrected. Don't talk about Nagato this time. Even Yahiko was confused and didn't understand what a show this was. Although the teacher is powerful, the resurrected Uchiha Madara is not bad either. Is she so confident that she can control the opponent? Don't worry, Nagato will be fine, and Uchiha Madara will be resurrected, but from now on, he will become a pawn in my hands. He controlled so many chess pieces. He almost caused my descendants to fall into darkness. It's time for me to have a taste of what it's like to be a chess piece. Uchiha Kagami showed a confident smile. Resurrecting Uchiha Madara is definitely a must, it is an important part of Project Tsuki no Mi. But the role was just reversed, making him mistakenly think that everything was under control, but he didn't realize that he was the only one on the board. The four masters and apprentices plotted for a long time. After almost finishing the details, they all smiled evilly. That night, to celebrate the smooth progress of the plan, he and Nagato had a dinner. It's fun and has a family atmosphere. The next day, Uchiha Kagami returns to Konoha. As soon as he returned to Konoha, Minato came to the door, looking slightly panicked. No, teacher, something big happened. No rush, Minato, speak slowly. Jing said slowly. Inside information suddenly spread in the ninja world. Someone exposed that you, Yahiko, and Nagato have a master-disciple relationship. As the ace mercenary organization of Rain Shinobi Village, the Akatsuki organization defrauded major ninja villages of more than 10 billion through war. 2 hiring fees. Namikaze Minato swallowed his saliva and said in a difficult tone, the senior leaders of the major ninja villages believe that this is a naked fraud. 3rd Tsuchikage Onoki, 3rd generation 4th Raikage, 3rd Case-Cage, 4th Case-Cage Red Sand Scorpion unite and demand immediately return all employment fees. Otherwise, Konoha will usher in a catastrophe from the 5 shadows. Haha, it seems to be Madara's handiwork. Uchiha Kagami seemed to have expected it. Unexpectedly, he couldn't sit still the next day. It was obvious that Uchiha Madara's time was running out. He wanted to use the 5 shadows to get rid of me. And took the opportunity to kill Yahiko and make Nagato black. Then what should we do? The 5 shadows have begun to gather and are expected to arrive at the border of the Land of Fire tonight and put pressure on Konoha United. Teacher, how about we return the money to them? Or half of it? Namikaze Minato is very worried. After all, it is the 5 shadows, and this is the first time in history that such a lineup has been formed. Even after seeing the teacher easily suppress 9 tails, the title of Cage is not something that can be ignored casually, let alone 5 cages united. To be honest, he was very worried about the teacher's safety. Uchiha Kagami patted him on the shoulder and smiled. Why should we give back the money we earn based on our skills? Minato, do you know why I have been hiding my strength all these years? Why in the entire ninja world, except for a few people, only Madara knows that Yahiko and the others are my disciples? Didn't Madara overhear it? No, I did it on purpose. Ah, teacher, is this the day you have been waiting for? Namikaze Minato's pupils tightened. He thought of a terrible guess. The teacher has been hiding his strength for so many years. Is it possible that the enemies will unite and defeat them all? If you guess like this, didn't the teacher start planning it 10 years ago? You were so sure 10 years ago that your strength will crush the 5 shadows 10 years from now. Yes, this is the day I've been waiting for. Uchiha Kagami's eyes were filled with disbelief. I'm waiting for them to become angry and unite to put pressure on Konoha and defeat the 5 shadows. This will raise Konoha's prestige to another level, and it is not impossible to unify the ninja world in the future. This is of course one reason. On the other hand, he has done too many great things. Capturing a cage alive or even defeating any cage will not cause much public opinion in the ninja world. After all, everyone is used to it. Therefore, he needs to create more amazing things to let public opinion refresh more favorability, thereby improving his own strength. And fighting against the 5 shadows is the most critical part. Of course, this time the 5 cage are not the cage of the 5 great ninja villages, but the 5 cage of the 3 great ninja villages of Earth, Wind and Cloud, but it is enough to make him famous. Even Dot can become a new legend in the ninja world. Looking at the ambitious teacher, Namikaze Minato couldn't help but exclaimed, as expected of the teacher, I thought of this from the beginning. As a student, I should fully support you, and I will also help you. But, sensei, I'm curious as Madara controls Kurigakure's 3rd Mizukage. Why not just let the 3rd Mizukage deal with you as well? Don't treat the shadows as idiots. The 3rd Mizukage has been controlled for so many years, and Uchiha Madara is becoming more and more powerless as his lifespan is approaching. Once the 5 shadows notice that Mizukage is under a genjutsu, they may not be able to deal with me with all their strength. Uchiha Kagami asked with great interest. Madara will not let the plan go beyond his control, but after all, we have a lot of elites in Konoha, and the battle situation has reached a point where the winner or loser is about to be decided. I think it's not just Kurigakure, other ninja villages also sent many elites, right? Namikaze Minato nodded. You guessed it right. Kurigakure sent out the 7 ninja swordsmen, Sunagakure sent out Scorch-style Hayakura, Cloud Shinobi Village sent out 8 Tails Jinchuriki and Dodai, Iwagakure sent out Explosion-style Jonin Ki, and the son of 3rd Tsuchikage Lois. It seems that they are also planning to burn the boat. The victory or defeat depends on this time. In this case, let Konoha Sannin deal with Cloud Shinobi Village, and Tsukumo and his son deal with Sunagakure. Akamaiki Tofu, Yuhi Maki, Yumi no Ikaku and others deal with Iwagakure, and the remaining 7 ninja swordsmen of Kurigakure are left to you, Minato. Note: Yuhi Kurenai's father, Yumi no Ikaku, Yumi no Koni, and Iruka's parents are all veteran Jonin. The original novel died in the Nine Tails Rebellion. Okay, teacher. Namikaze Minato nodded without hesitation. Now that he has 9 Tails Jinchuriki, he is not worried about chakra consumption problem at all. As for the 2 Jonin in Iwagakure, although they are famous, Akamaiki Kaifeng is also an experienced Jonin. He was a 2nd Hokage guard together with Kagami. After experiencing the battle between Golden Horn and Silver Horn, he has become famous. The number of Jonin in Konoha is actually very large, and it is completely possible to win with numbers. Today's middle and lower level ninjas in Konoha may not be able to compare with the 5 major ninja villages combined. Just talking about the number of Jonin. That's really not necessarily comparable to Konoha. Namikaze Minato thought for a while and asked, "Where is Obito? Are you not going to let him go to the battlefield? Are you going to send the third Hokage-sama as well? Isn't that too hasty?" "No need for the moment. The spell on Obito's heart has not been removed yet. We have to prevent Madara from causing trouble. Minato, if you deal with the 7 ninja swordsmen in advance, use Flying Thunder God to run around other battlefields. End the war as soon as possible." Uchiha Kagami coughed a few times and said, "Your contribution is great enough. Ahem, Orochimaru has lost his hair now. He is eager to go to the battlefield. Your proposal to take office as 4th Hokage has been submitted to the daimyo. If nothing else, when the war is over, you will be able to take over Orochimaru's position." "Yes, teacher, thank you for your cultivation," Minato said excitedly. "You're welcome, you deserve this. I'll leave first. Don't keep the 5 shadows waiting too long." Uchiha Kagami patted his shoulder. He formed a seal with one hand and disappeared from the place with a swish sound. Not long after, he arrived at the border of the country of fire. This is the Kingdom of Grass in the northwest, and it is also the junction of the 3 major countries. It can also be regarded as one of the war buffer zones for the Third Ninja War, but unlike Rain Shinobi Village, which was once supported by Hanzo, there are almost no famous ninjas in the Land of Grass, and there are no particularly powerful ninjas. Most famous, well, it seems to be Hungry Kido from Pain's 6 Paths. The ninja that Jiraiya killed when he escaped from the ninja world was later made by Nagato as one of Pain, but there is no origin of the name. But this is all a digression. When Uchiha Kagami comes to the battlefield, standing on a high cliff, with a flame fan on his back, he looked down at the many ninjas below. It includes the 3 major ninja villages of Cloud Shinobi Village, Sunagakure, and Iwagakure. The number is close to tens of thousands. The leaders were none other than the 5 Kages, starting with the 2 burly Raikages. The 3rd Raikage has a slender beard, the 4th Raikage seems to be getting stronger, the 3rd Kage has a cold face, and the 4th Kage is a scorpion lying on the ground. And Tsuchikage Onoki. At this time, floating above them, the old face was filled with anger. "You Uchiha Kagami. Do you still dare to come? How dare you join forces with the Akatsuki organization in Rain Shinobi Village to defraud us? Return the money to us quickly, otherwise, don't blame us, the 5 Kages, for bullying the few with more." Uchiha Kagami crossed his arms and said unceremoniously, "Why should I give you back the money I earned based on my skills? And this is a war period. I just captured you alive and didn't take your lives. What's wrong with charging a small fee? I'm already kind enough, but I want to bully the few. Do you really think I'm afraid of you? Haha, they're just a mob. What's the use of even being a shadow? Except for Uchiha Madara and my eldest brother Senju Hashirama, I don't take them seriously." Onoki was furious. "Listen, how arrogant this kid is. Why don't you look down on him except Hashirama and Madara? I'm so angry." 3rd Raikage and 4th Raikage couldn't help it. They were already grumpy, and coupled with being deceived before, it was like a naked humiliation. How can they bear this? But before they could take action, Onoki shook his head and said cautiously, "Although Uchiha Kagami is arrogant, he never does anything that he is not sure of. I suggest that the ninjas be consumed first to see what is true and what is true." "Okay, let's do it." Others had no objections. The ninjas immediately swarmed forward and rushed overwhelmingly. Uchiha Kagami jumped up and looked at the thousands of enemies. His eyes were not timid at all, but became more and more sarcastic. "As expected of you, Onoki. To use so many ninjas to consume me, only an old guy like you can do it. But for me now, the number of people is meaningless to me." Uchiha Kagami rushed in alone. He kicked an enemy away and knocked the 2 of them together with his hands. His body was as strong as dancing in the crowd, and large bodies of corpses were constantly being repelled. The flame fan in his hand easily knocked away the enemies. "Call out." A kunai sneak attack came. He also carried a detonating charm, but Uchiha Kagami didn't even look at it. He raised his hand to take off the detonating talisman and stuck it on another ninja, kicked him out without mercy, and threw the kunai backhand. There are people hiding underground, trying to catch themselves. But he raised his feet and jumped, hitting the ground with a fan, and the man let out a shrill scream. At this moment, he seemed to have turned into a cold weapon. Everyone was frightened, and they looked too scared to step forward to attack. So strong. Is this Uchiha Kagami? Konoha's red fangs are indeed well deserved. We can't touch them at all. This is just a waste of life. I don't want to fight. Quote. Uchiha Kagami ignored them and looked at Onoki and the others. These people are nothing but chickens and weak dogs. Only you can dance in front of me. Why don't you plan to take action? As a movie star, you don't even have the courage to do so. It's really ridiculous. Stop looking down on people. I want to avenge my grandma, Feiliuhu Tailthorn on the back. Prosthetic hand Senbon. Scorpion controls Feiliuhu. The steel scorpion tail from behind pierced him. But it was easily avoided by Uchiha Kagami, and what followed was densely packed Senbon, each of which was extremely poisonous. Little trick, Gale Palm. Uchiha Kagami looked contemptuous. He raised his right hand and set off a strong wind. All these 1,000 needles were rolled back, and at this moment the third cage also joined the battle, manipulating a large amount of sand iron and trying to attack. But Uchiha Kagami is too fast. With the flying thunder god, he couldn't catch up and couldn't catch the flaw. Third cage's face darkened. Uchiha Kagami's speed is too fast. Even without Mangekyō Sharingan, at my speed, I simply can't keep up with him. Unless someone fights him closely and delays him, I can do it. Let us father and son come. It's time to wash away the humiliation in the name of Raikage. The third Raikage and the fourth Raikage stood up. The father and son looked at each other and activated the lightning-style chakra mode to its strongest level. Zitsa, Zitsa. The two men were covered in lightning. Each hair stands upside down, like a hedgehog. With a swish sound, the two quickly approached each other, and the father and son used their own unique skills at the same time. Lateral bolt of pain. Hell thrust 4 pen hands. The two have practiced over the years. The speed has far exceeded the level of that year. And Uchiha Kagami does not have Sharingan, and is no longer in its heyday, so even with Flying Thunder God, it is difficult to deal with the attack of the two. Even if I can barely avoid it, there is no Sharingan. He would not be able to use Susanoo. With their physical bodies, the father and son were completely fearless of other ninjutsu, as long as there was a chance to catch his flaw. But, the next second, their smiles stiffened. Uchiha Kagami didn't use Flying Thunder God to dodge at all, and emitted amazing chakra from all over her body. Boom! The eyes suddenly turned into barbed windmills, with a triangle and rhombus rotating in the middle of the windmill. Layers of bones continued to condense, and Susanoo appeared again, making fists with both hands and punching Raikage and his son away. As this, Susanoo, Mangekyō Sharingan, impossible, you're not blind. No, why? I used it so many times, how come it didn't affect my vision? How is that possible? Could it be that you have always been pretending? Quote. Onoki, Raikage, and Cage were all shocked. They thought that even if the news was false, the other party would only be able to use ordinary Sharingan at most, but who knows? Not only is this guy not blind, can Susanoo also be used? What a dog! As an Uchiha, shouldn't we show off like crazy everywhere? Why can you resist hiding Mangekyō Sharingan? Uchiha Kagami maintained Susanoo and said calmly, of course I'm pretending, my Mangekyō has never been blind. And now, I have already surpassed what I was 10 years ago, and no one has seen my true strength. Quote. Although Onoki was shocked, he was not afraid. Uchiha Kagami, what is your purpose? Hiding your strength, just to fight us. Our 5 shadows haven't done anything yet, you will plunge Konoha into a place of eternal destruction. No, you are overthinking. Konoha will not suffer any losses, and after all, you are ninjas who bear the name of Shadow. This is the first time such a lineup has been formed. Let you see, my heyday. Uchiha Kagami said proudly, I will let you understand a truth. It's great that you have the courage to challenge me, but that's all I can praise you for. Arrogant Uchiha. Onoki showed a confident expression. Today, we will definitely not lose if we put our dignity as a shadow on the line. Really, Onoki, when you came to form an alliance with Second Tsuchikage, wasn't it miserable for you to be taught a lesson by Uchiha Madara? Uchiha Kagami spoke sarcastically. You are so old, and you still haven't realized how powerful the Uchiha clan is. Are you so short of memory? Quote. Onoki's face turned pale. That scene was so vivid in my mind. Once Susanoo came out, she was invincible and beat them until they vomited blood on the spot. But at that time, he was still young and average in strength, but after so long, he was no longer the young man he was before. Uchiha Kagami, I am not the same person anymore. Onoki gritted his teeth and said, and you think you can rival Uchiha Madara? You are such an arrogant young man. Since the Sengoku period, there has been no new ninja legend in this ninja world. Really? Then let's witness it today. Uchiha Kagami scanned the audience. The chakra on her body surged, and Susanoo stood tall. The half-body of Susanoo alone is tens of meters tall, and the chakra blades in both hands are constantly waving to clean up large areas of miscellaneous fish. A big funeral of sand and iron. Third Cage shouted angrily. Spread your hands and manipulate the large piece of sand iron in magnet style. The waves surged forward one after another, like a vast ocean of sand and iron, trying to forcefully break through Susanoo's defense. But, several consecutive vibrations. Bust Susanoo has no cracks at all. It only shook a little, which immediately made Third Cage's eyes widen. Onoki asked anxiously, how is it? Lord Third Cage, did you test the defense power? Third Cage swallowed and said with a difficult expression, Uchiha Kagami is now unfathomable. His Susanoo, both in size and defense, is far more powerful than the one we fought against me 10 years ago. Except for Mr. Tsuchikage's dust escape, I don't think anyone can break through his defense. Even Raikage and his son may not be able to do it, unless, let him take the initiative, but this is impossible. Impossible. Onoki stared at each other. Found Uchiha Kagami standing there with his arms crossed. His face was full of pride, but there were gaps on the soles of his feet, and there was a lot of sand and iron around his feet. Third Cage has a keen sense of combat. Following Onoki's reminder, this flaw was immediately captured. Immediately, his eyes were filled with confusion. When he raised his right hand upward, he saw the iron sand at his feet, forcibly dragging Uchiha Kagami out. Ha ha, ha ha ha, this is Susanoo's flaw, we are going to win. Raikage, now. Double lariat. Onoki clenched his fists. Raikage and his son had been waiting for a long time and attacked at a fast speed. The two of them burst out with explosive lightning-style chakra. While clenching their fists, they were about to break Uchiha Kagami's neck with their elbows and shoulders. Uchiha Kagami, you will lose this time. You can't move in the air, so what can you do to resist our stunt? No one can resist this move. Fourth Raikage's eyes were full of excitement. Originally, when his father was defeated by Uchiha Kagami, he was tricked by his disciples in order to wash away his shame, and then was coaxed out of hundreds of millions by the Akatsuki organization. Now that I think about it, it's simply a naked humiliation. This time they cooperated with Third Cage's attack, which was fast enough that the other party couldn't use Flying Thunder God. No matter what happens this time, Uchiha Kagami will definitely lose. However, something unexpected happened. Not only was Uchiha Kagami's head unscathed, but his body had been covered in purple lightning style at some point, and his eyes were full of teasing. Uchiha Madara used the Rinnegan to absorb Naruto's Rasenshuriken. Although Uchiha Kagami doesn't, but his body has long since transformed, and the strongest body has been born. Even Naruto's Sage Art Spiral Shuriken may not be able to break through the defense, let alone this kind of ninjutsu. Oh, slip of the tongue. It's not that nintaijutsu isn't strong enough. But the physical bodies of Raikage and his son still need to be improved. And he, Uchiha Kagami, has more tricks than Uchiha Madara, and is relatively more calm. No, how is this possible? My father and I's unique ninja skills were actually blocked by you with your body. My strongest shield and strongest spear can't do anything to your body. Could it be that, in just a few years, your body has become stronger than mine? Fourth Raikage was stunned. Third Raikage looked ugly and thought of some possibility. That's right, I'm sorry. Now the title of strongest body in the ninja world can only belong to me. But you father and son are so ruthless. I spared you several times on the battlefield, but you are not merciful at all. It seems that I can only be cruel. The smiling face of Uchiha Kagami. It gradually turned cold, and the short black hair suddenly grew. It binds the third raikage like a hedgehog, its hairs are as sharp as steel needles, and it also has the property of purple electricity paralysis. Even the third raikage can't break free. This move. It's Jiraiya's messy lion hair technique. Use cell activation to make hair grow rapidly, which can be used to restrain enemies. But he covered it with the purple lightning style and blessed it with the strongest body. This move is already far behind Jiraiya. This trick works very well. For those with talent, practice is actually not that difficult. However, the difficulty of ninjutsu does not always represent the power of ninjutsu. The two are not the same concept. After all, Senju Hashirama's wood style is wood style, while Yamato's wood style can only have 3 rooms and 2 living rooms. And fourth raikage is fast enough. He actually managed to escape before being restrained. Father. Fourth raikage looked anxious, and Uchiha Kagami's eyes became more and more cold. He does want to leave some seeds for the ninja world. After all, these seeds may be useful in the future, but sometimes it is not good to be too kind. Then, chakra surges from Uchiha Kagami's body. A Susanoo arm is transformed, and the chakra blade is about to penetrate the third raikage. At the critical moment, suddenly, an old voice came from high in the sky. Don't even think about it. Earth-style earthquake core. The ground suddenly rose. Uchiha Kagami cannot control her body, but is restrained by her long hair. The third raikage rose together, and at this moment the chakra threads flew in, forcibly connecting the third raikage and breaking free from its restraints. And Scorpion no longer hides. At some point, the main body appeared next to the third cage. He has red hair and looks very young, probably in his teens. But in fact, he is about the same age as Nagato now. Although he is still young, he is not as young as he looks. It's obvious, he still transformed himself into a human puppet. The third cage didn't seem to know, and looked surprised. Scorpion, your body, you actually transformed your own body. I'm sorry, I should have paid more attention to you when you were young. It doesn't matter, this is the path I chose. Scorpion's eyes were fixed on Uchiha Kagami, and he said with overwhelming hatred, Konoha killed my parents, Uchiha Kagami killed my grandmother. I have no nostalgia anymore, this body is the way for me to become stronger. For revenge, I won't hesitate to become a puppet. Quote. Uchiha Kagami said nothing. I actually feel like Scorpion looks a lot like Sasuke now. He lives for revenge, but he has no sympathy at all. On the battlefield, you are either killed or killed. You cannot be spared just because you are weak. This is my strongest puppet art. Red Secret Technique 100 Machine Exercise. Scorpion opens his chest, and popped up the third scroll behind it. Hundreds of red puppets came out, controlled by the chakra line on the chest, and rushed towards the opponent densely. Little tricks. Uchiha Kagami shook his head in disdain. Chakra surges all over his body, and half of his body is covered with whiskers. If these puppets are allowed to attack continuously, any kunai poisonous mist will be meaningless. Click, click, click. He activated the chakra's two-handed blade, which was more than 10 meters away, and casually chopped down a large number of puppets, causing countless parts and broken legs to fall. After a while, this most powerful art will completely disappear. It turned into a pile of scrap metal, and the scene was a bit embarrassing. Onoki, Raikage and his son, third cage. Quote exclamation mark. Quote. Shie gritted his teeth and showed an expression of disbelief. He didn't recover for a long time. The most powerful puppet art that he was proud of was so weak that he was easily defeated by the opponent like chopping vegetables. Third cage comforted. It's okay, Scorpion, Uchiha Kagami is not an ordinary ninja after all. You are still young and you will have a chance to take revenge in the future. It's up to us next, right? You can just help us from the side. If you can't avoid the opponent's attack, remember to use the chakra line to help us. Good. Scorpion gritted his teeth and refused to give in. But he could only nod in agreement. After all, he is still too young and his strength still has room to grow. But as the fourth cage, he could only play support, which was unacceptable to the young and energetic man. Can't you dance? I originally wanted to try other things, but it seems that the 5 of you are limited to this level. Let's see how you take this trick. Susanoo Yasaka Magatama. Uchiha Kagami opened her hands. The same goes for half-length Susanoo, whose chakra is constantly condensing. It turned into 8 huge dark red Magatama and smashed it in the direction of the 5 shadows. Earth-style Gangly-style technique. Sand iron shield. Onoki and Third Raikage looked at each other. The two of them had a tacit understanding, but they didn't dare to slack off in the slightest. The two of them pressed down on the ground at the same time, and a large amount of soil began to surge, turning into a huge stone man. And behind the stone man, there is also an extremely thick layer of sand iron covering. Boom! Magatama fell on it, almost breaking through the 2 layers of defense. Cracks appeared in the stone giant, but barely blocked it. Bang bang, bang bang bang. Uchiha Kagami clapped his hands and said with leisurely appreciation, "Yes, the dual defense of sand iron release and earth style is worthy of the strongest Kazekage and Onoki. Their fighting awareness is first rate, and they can actually block this move of mine. Then, how can you resist this move? Wood style, the world of flowers and trees is coming." As soon as he finished speaking, in an instant, the ground began to shake. Card, countless vines sprouted from the ground. Each vine is thick and big, like an ocean. In the blink of an eye, the entire battlefield was covered, flowers bloomed, and pollen spread at a speed visible to the naked eye. "How is that possible? Wood style," Onoki said in shock. "You actually know First Hokage's wood style. How is this possible?" Shie was completely stunned, creating such a large forest in the blink of an eye. Is this the power of the former ninja god? Third Raikage gritted his teeth. Even though I really don't want to admit it, he just mentioned Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama, and he didn't take them seriously. It seems that he really wasn't bragging. How can it be repaired? Uchiha Kagami actually knows wood style. When can I beat him? Fourth Raikage was furious with incompetence. Now is not the time to talk about this, hurry up. Scorpion says these pollen are highly poisonous and can paralyze the body instantly once inhaled. Quick, everyone get into the air. Use my sand iron to help you. Third Kazekage looked anxious. Immediately activate the magnet style and control the balls of sand and iron. The sand iron flew holding 5 shadows floating in the air, and kept rising. However, the next second, before they could react, Uchiha Kagami appeared above them at some point. At this moment, he was no longer half Susanoo, but Susanoo who had grown legs. In terms of scale, even compared with Uchiha Madara, it is no different. Uchiha Kagami laughed ferociously. Susanoo raised her hand and patted it down, causing the 5 shadows to fall into the sea of trees. You're all focused on the pollen, and you didn't notice me, right? Haha. Get off here. Fire style how huo mie ya. Hooray, hurrah. And he jumped up. The huge Susanoo stood on the hill, and at the same time released a large-scale fire style. A large swath of flames covered it in the blink of an eye. And it burned the sea of trees at a speed visible to the naked eye. The entire battlefield was enveloped in flames, and Uchiha Kagami surrounded them from above, making it impossible for them to break out. It's broken. This is going to trap us here. Third Kazecage's expression changed. Quick. Who knows water style? Put out the flames, otherwise we will all suffocate to death here. Onoki. I can't, I'm Tsuchikage. Shie was helpless. I only know puppetry. Although my high-pressure water gun can spray water, I can't extinguish this large-scale fire style. Raikage and his son. Don't look at us, we from Cloud Shinobi Village are just reckless. Quote. The atmosphere was silent now. After the silence, there was intense despair. As the flames quickly burned through the trees, they lost the support of oxygen and all fell to the ground and fell into a coma. The majestic 5 shadows. It seemed like he was defeated easily. Only Onoki was holding the stone tightly in a daze. Uchiha Kagami couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. He looked down at the crowd and said calmly, "Is this the 5 Kage? It's really weak. Raikage and his son are just like. They are a bit on the same speed and strength. Without the puppet, Scorpion is in trouble all the time. Third Kazecage's strength is acceptable, but there are no new breakthroughs. As for Onoki, retire as soon as you are old. Don't always occupy Kage's position. It would be better to leave it to young people. However, before he could finish his evaluation, in the sea of fire, an old and firm voice came out. I'm not occupying it. It's just that Iwagakure has no one to inherit the will of the stone. I will retire when one appears. I have inherited the will of stone. I will always persevere and never give up. Even though the other cages have been defeated, I, Onoki, have not yet been defeated. Onoki held his breath and said resolutely, Uchiha Madara was the shadow of my youth. I have been afraid and retreated for many years. This time I will never retreat. I will never allow myself to lose to Uchiha again. Dust Escape Original Realm Peeling Technique. Stab. Onoki clapped his hands. The dust escape block appeared and swept in all directions. The nearby battlefield was cleared in just an instant. Onoki clenched his fists. We have not lost yet. We will never admit defeat until the moment of death. As expected of you, Onoki. Uchiha Kagami glanced at him appreciatively. Among these 5 people, only Onoki is the strongest. The most important thing is the will to never give up. Even at such an old age, this is still the case, but such a person actually became a black man in Boruto. To be honest, he couldn't figure it out. At this moment, the other shadows also stood up. Also because of Onoki's encouragement, the other cages also cheered up. Uchiha Kagami, since you claim that you don't take anyone else seriously except Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara, then our 5 cages will besiege you. It's not mean. Now it's time to go all out. We will definitely defeat you. Okay, come on. Uchiha Kagami is calm and collected. Allowing the opponent to attack him, Onoki lay on top of Third Raikage. I saw that Third Raikage was faster than before, and with a flash of lightning, he was close to the enemy in an instant. Using the ultra-light heavy rock technique to reduce Raikage's weight. Has it become faster? Uchiha Kagami raised her hand. Releases fire style again, but is blocked by sand iron. Third Raikage took the opportunity to go behind, and Onoki used the super heavy rock technique to instantly increase the weight of Raikage's body. Hell thrust Ippon's in hand. Third Raikage shouted angrily. And with Onoki's blessing, this time he actually penetrated Susanoo. Although it was only the initial state, it was still shocking enough, and the opponent's power did not decrease at all, and the blood hole was pierced through Uchiha Kagami's body. 1. Onoki and Third Raikage were immediately delighted. But the next second, the smiles on their faces faltered. Because the Uchiha in front of him turned into a tree, it was obviously just a clone. Immediately afterwards, a sting. The chakra blade penetrated the Third Raikage from bottom to top. Puff. Third Raikage suddenly vomited blood. Fourth Raikage ducked and took Third Raikage away. But this kind of penetrating injury was too serious, and no one present was a medical ninja, so there was no way for Third Raikage to recover. Father. Fourth Raikage was furious and helpless. Uchiha Kagami appeared from under the woods and stood on the opposite side, his eyes gradually becoming colder. Since you are fighting to the death, then I will help you. If this ninja world wants peace, bloodshed will always be needed. I have spared you, father and son, many times. Since you don't know how to praise me, then I can only send you to see the king of hell. Ahem, I can't die now. Third Raikage coughed up blood though. But the control muscle stopped the bleeding, though it held on. But it won't last long. As time goes by, you will still die, it's just a matter of sooner or later. It's so boring. Let's do something interesting next. Don't say that I bully others and be mean to others. You are ninjas who bear the name of Shadow. Uchiha Kagami clapped his hands. Chakra surged, and 25 wood clones suddenly emerged from the body. This time it became 25 versus 5, and this wood clone could actually cast Susanoo. Even though it was only the 3rd stage, it was enough to make the 5 shadows embarrassed. These 5 people are resisting with difficulty. As for Uchiha Kagami's true form, he was sitting on a high place looking down and admiring it, thinking secretly in his heart, Uchiha Madara doesn't know when it will end, so let's waste some time and play with the 5 shadows, Yahiko Nagato, the rest it's up to you. Too strong. Shie couldn't help but said in despair, these 25 wood-style clones can actually use Susanoo. If this continues, we will be defeated. Ah, 3rd Raikage and 4th Raikage are tough. He kept pushing back 1 or 2 Susanoo with his body, but to no avail. 3rd Raikage panted. My injuries are getting worse and worse. Even if I can't die, I will die of exhaustion. Fourth Raikage said angrily, but we have no choice. Father, we have no choice but to fight hard. Xie was speechless at once. You can still fight hard, I have no puppets. Are you going to fight with your head? As expected, Scorpion was defeated quickly and his body was shattered by a punch. The puppet's severed limbs were flying around, and even the regeneration core in its heart was nowhere to be found. Cage. Fourth Raikage is anxious. But there was a flaw, and the clone seized the opportunity. With one hand, he held Fourth Raikage in his palm, Sharingan suddenly focused, and Fourth Raikage suddenly fell into the illusion. Earth-style Iwa hands, just when many Susanna clones wanted to take advantage of the victory and pursue it. Onoki shouted, and a huge stone hand held Fourth Raikage in his palm, protecting Fourth Raikage firmly. Taking advantage of the protection stage, Onoki awakened Fourth Raikage. Shadows, stand up. It's a matter of life and death, and morale must not be destroyed. Have you forgotten what you are fighting for? For the village. The villagers believe that we can recover the wages. We must not let down the hope of the village. Onoki floated at the front, encouraging everyone while fighting. The remaining three shadows also cheered up. Even Scorpion used its regeneration core to penetrate into the amber and continued to fight. The 5 people who were originally in low morale became a rope. As expected of Onoki, not only is he older, the gap in combat experience is immediately apparent, but he also has strong leadership skills. Uchiha Kagami smiled calmly in her heart. I used the weighted rock technique to organize a group to do Nengu, and also helped Raikage release Sharingan's genjutsu control. Not bad, no wonder Uchiha Madara later said that this kid's skills have improved a lot. Then let's see what you can do, right? His mind moved. 25 Susanoo began the siege. The huge blades fell in unison, and it seemed that there was almost no possibility of rescue. And that's when Onoki clasped his hands together again, chakra gathered crazily, and shouted angrily. Dust Escape Limited Peeling Technique. A sting. As soon as he finished speaking, the light of Dust Escape swept across. This time the Dust Escape was several times larger than the previous one, and its power was also expanded many times. The 25 wood-style clones, including Susanoo, were completely covered by Dust Escape and completely turned into dust. Watching, it will fall on him. However, Uchiha had already expected it and said with a joking expression, Onoki, you can do it, I can do it too, and I am stronger than you. Dust Escape Original Realm Peeling Technique. Snap. Uchiha Kagami clasped her hands together. The Dust Escape crystal blocks quickly condensed and turned into a huge Dust Escape light. He collided hard with the opponent's Chen Escape. In the blink of an eye, all the trees around him disappeared, and all the soil animals were cleared away. Chen Escape. It's actually Chen Escape. Onoki looked horrified and said in disbelief, how is it possible? This guy can actually use my Dust Escape. Third Raikage was also dumbfounded. Sure enough, when he said he didn't know anything, I should have doubted it. He originally knew everything. Fourth Raikage. How can it be repaired? He can do everything we know. How to fight this? Scorpion. Looks like he doesn't know my puppetry skills. Third Cage. Could it be that he doesn't like it? Scorpion. Please shut up. Third Cage. Okay. Although they had the leisure to joke around. But it became more and more heavy, and this time morale fell to the bottom again. Onoki looked unwilling, but my heart became more and more powerless. He knows the difficulty of controlling Chen Escape better than anyone else, and he also understands its power. Limited Peeling Technique and Original Peeling Technique are actually both Dust Escapes, but they are injected with different chakra, resulting in different scale and power. However, Uchiha Kagami peels off technique in its original form. Forcibly blocking his own limit peeling technique, it is enough to show that not only the opponent's control is amazing, but chakra is much stronger than him. Aren't you going to give up yet? Okay, then I'll show you my heyday. I will let you know that no matter whether it is a shadow or anything, it has no effect in front of my complete body, Susanoo. Uchiha Kagami looked calm. With a thought, chakra rose into the sky. The astonishing chakra swept across the entire battlefield, and each rib condensed, then transformed into a bearded giant wearing a mask. Seeing this scene, everyone was shocked and became more and more desperate. So big. Is this the real Susanoo? What an amazing shikara is this? Uchiha Kagami smiled contemptuously. It's not over yet. Certainly. Make a fist with one hand. Mask Susanoo rises again. A large amount of chakra quickly condensed and turned into a huge humanoid giant. There are 4 chakra swords on his waist, and a pair of huge wings on his back, giving people boundless shock like a god. Onoki raised his head and murmured in fear, such a huge chakra, is this stronger than Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama? Uchiha Kagami's strength is actually terrifying to this level. Shie was hiding in Filiu Amber but was trembling. Is this the power of God? Third Cage said desperately, our powers are not in the same dimension at all. Uchiha Kagami has been playing tricks on us from the beginning. Raikage and his son said in disbelief, a new ninja legend is about to appear. And for Uchiha Kagami, the perfect Susanoo this time is completely different from the last one. Although it was also a complete body last time, in fact, his chakra has not grown to the point where it is now, and it is far inferior to Uchiha Madara's Susanoo. But now, it can be said that he didn't notice it at all. Susanoo's weakness is her body, but Kagami's body is already the number 1 in the ninja world, so it is even worse. Uchiha Kagami looked down at them. I already said that. No one can stop me except Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama. What a pity, they are both gone. But you should be thankful for this. This place is barely big enough for me to deal with alone, because if I were to fight the 3 of them, the entire country of grass and everything nearby would be wiped out. As soon as he finished speaking, he drew the chakra blade from his waist. He raised his hand and swiped suddenly, and the amazing blade turned into red light. Several kilometers away, the 2 tall peaks were flattened, and the 5 shadows swept by the air waves were unable to stand still. And seeing the disappearing mountain peaks in the distance, the 5 figures were horrified and all collapsed on the ground. Uchiha Kagami said calmly, Susanoo represents destruction. It can cut everything in the forest with one strike, and even the tailed beasts can't resist it. Onoki gritted his teeth and said, is this the power of the perfect Susanoo? But why didn't he show it to Uchiha Madara when Musama and I went to see him? Could it be? You guessed it right. Have you ever seen an adult who would be serious with a kid? Jing shrugged. Really? Onoki also gave up resistance. Are you going to kill us? Uchiha Kagami said calmly, it depends on your attitude. If you are still stubborn, I will kill you without mercy. What do you mean? What is your purpose? Onoki said in a low voice. The purpose is very simple, which is peace in the ninja world. Peace in the ninja world. I don't believe it. Onoki was the first one not to believe it. You teamed up with the Akatsuki organization to defraud us of so much money, but you said you did this for the sake of peace in the ninja world. Yes, the ninja world needs peace, but peace requires force. Uchiha Kagami said cheekily. Nagato's Rinnegan, who has the eyes of a fairy, is undoubtedly the savior of this world, but the savior is still too young and needs some room to grow. So we need some funding, but you as the great ninja village are definitely not willing, so we can only do this. Besides, does all that money belong to you? Doesn't it belong to the Daming Mansion? So why are you feeling distressed? Quote. 5 shadows were suddenly speechless. Your disciples need to be cultivated, so you just pick our wool. So domineering, Uchiha Kagami said slowly. You are destined to not be able to take away this money, and you must jointly clarify. The Akatsuki organization is a just organization, and every one of our employment fees is reasonable and legal, and there is no fraud. Onoki's tone was difficult and very hesitant. Is this too much? We in the great ninja village are all shameless. Yes, all of you ninja villages are shameless. I know you are not doing it for money, but to gain face for the village, but unfortunately, you have kicked me off. Uchiha Kagami sarcastically said, so you can only surrender. To be honest, if it weren't for me, this battle would definitely plunge the major ninja villages into chaos. Only I can calm everything down. Onoki asked. The Second Ninja World War, wasn't it started by you Konoha? These 3 wars are just a continuation of the last grudges. I provoked it, but even if I didn't provoke it, you wouldn't have taken action. I just struck first, that's all. But now that we in Konoha have obtained the benefits we deserve, this war can be stopped. Uchiha Kagami looked at them and said without any doubt, of course I know your pride is a shadow, so I give you two choices, either surrender immediately and stop the war. Either you 5 shadows will all die here. Rain Shinobi Village. It was raining all the time and the atmosphere was not very harmonious. On top of the tower, a girl wearing paper flowers on her head was sorting out her finances. Yahiko and Nagato go out to make money in the name of the Akatsuki organization. In addition to the 5 major ninja villages, the small ninja villages are also included. And, relatively speaking, Shao Ninja Village does not have much money. But I can't bear the large number, the hiring task is very simple. As the spiritual leader of Rain Shinobi Village, Yahiko, although his strength has not yet grown, definitely needs to go out and do things. On the contrary, Conan just needs to stay in Rain Shinobi Village like a good housewife. At this moment, Conan sat at the table and counted how much money he earned. The country of tea, 5 million in employment wages. The kingdom of ice, 7.5 million employment fee. The country of shit, 2.5 million employment fee. There is also the employment fee of Danan Village. It has earned almost 10.5 billion in the past few years, and the 5 major ninja villages account for the majority. It is indeed a big country, but it is rich. It depends on the teacher's help, otherwise it is really difficult to make money. Conan happily counts the money. Standing next to him was a familiar figure, naturally Hanzo. He was not taken back by Orochimaru, but because the change of power in the village was not that simple, it took some time to relax. After all, Hanzo's prestige in Rain Shinobi Village is not low. If it disappears for no reason, it can easily cause unnecessary trouble. Hanzo couldn't help but said with disdain, I thought you 3 would be the future of Rain Shinobi Village, but I didn't expect that you would actually join forces with Konoha. Handing over the village to you is really the biggest mistake of my life. And that Uchiha Kagami, how dare you allow you to deceive the ninja world like this? Rain Shinobi Village will be destroyed because of you. Don't let me find a chance. Sooner or later I will make him pay the price. Yes, in his opinion the village must be independent. Although these 3 teenagers were extremely talented, they followed Jing's advice. Continuously making money through war is no less than dancing on the tip of a knife, and his strength in the mirror is still the same as it was 10 years ago. Therefore, in his opinion, things are now exposed. The other 4 major ninja villages will never let go. Including the 3 young executives of Rain Shinobi Village, they will definitely be liquidated by the big powers in the future, and Rain Shinobi Village will be completely destroyed by then. In his opinion this was a wrong choice. So he regretted agreeing to Uchiha Kagami. Conan blinked his beautiful eyes and showed a confident smile. What do you know? You have no idea how powerful the teacher is, so what if the matter has been exposed? Teachers can deal with them casually. Not only do we have to earn this salary, but we will continue to do so in the future. Do you know what you are doing? Hanzo hated the iron and said, Rain Shinobi Village is just a small shinobi village. Even if you have Uchiha Kagami to support you, he is not from Rain Shinobi Village after all. Once he cannot deal with the anger of the 5 cages, then the first one to bear the brunt is Rain Shinobi Village, and Uchiha Kagami will definitely abandon Konoha, and Konoha is also the #1 ninja village in the ninja world. At most, it will cause bleeding. But Rain Shinobi Village will be destroyed because of this. You are so stupid. It's you who's stupid, Hanzo. Conan rolled his eyes and said to him, the strength of Rain Shinobi Village has been continuously improving in the past few years. The employment fees earned through the Akatsuki organization. We have more and more excellent ninjas, and Rain Shinobi Village will only get better and better, powerful. Until it is comparable to the 5 major ninja villages, and you are worried about the wrath of the 5 cages, that is even more nonsense. You know nothing about the teacher. Who? Clang. Not finished yet. Suddenly, a kunai came flying towards me. Conan frowned and raised his hand. He threw out a shuriken and knocked away the opponent's kunai. Conan stood up and looked alert. He looked at the corner of the room and found his target. This person, wearing a black robe, wearing a hood and a mask underneath. A mask twisted from the outside to the inside to form 2 eyes. Through the mask, the deep eyes stared at Conan like prey. Who are you? Who sent you here? Conan said in a low voice. Me, I'm Uchiha Madara. Before he could finish speaking, Conan said sarcastically, haha, it's so funny. Why does everyone say that they are Uchiha Madara? The last person who pretended to be Uchiha Madara was killed, but you still dare to come. Little girl, you will believe it soon. Genjutsu Sharingan. The man in the vortex mask laughed evilly. The dark eyes actually turned into 3 Tomo Sharingan. Sharingan, you actually. Conan was careless. The whole person fell into a coma. Hanzo witnessed the whole process, looked him up and down and said warily, "Who are you? Why did you attack Conan? Do you want to deal with our Rain Shinobi village?" No, Rain Shinobi village doesn't matter. What matters is Nagato. With this little girl, half of the plan is completed. The masked man chuckled. Are you going to threaten Nagato? Fire style detonate the flame array. Hanzo was about to ask something. His whole body suddenly became excited, and it was obvious that Orochimaru noticed it. He forcibly controlled Hanzo's body from a distance, and Hanzo immediately raised his hand and pinned it to the ground. Boom! A large number of detonating symbols came out. It seemed to cover the masked man's body, and then exploded. This move was a stunt that injured Nagato's legs. In his opinion, the mysterious man in front of him would not be able to survive even if he had Sharingan. However, the man in front of me was standing like this. The smoke dispersed, and no injuries were sustained at all. What is extremely surprising is that this man is not even covered in dust. Seeing this scene, Hanzo was shocked. How is it possible? Even if my fire style can't kill you, how is it possible that there is no injury at all? What did you do? I didn't do anything, I just stood there. Fire style just wants to hurt me, but he underestimates the power of the Uchiha clan, right? The masked man said proudly. Interesting, I kind of believe you are Uchiha Madara now, and I want to work with you, but my body is not under my control. Hanzo gritted his teeth. He was about to rush over again, but the masked man said a few seals. Hanzo of the Salamander burst out with force, but Orochimaru briefly lost control due to the distance. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Hanzo quickly formed seals with his hands and let out a low drink. Impure World Reincarnation Solution. Chapter 9. As soon as he finished speaking, white light came out of him. After the white light dissipated, his eyes returned to clarity. Although there are still lines of impure world reincarnation on his face, he has completely released Orochimaru's control. You even know the solution to impure world reincarnation. Hanzo looked at him with a complicated expression and said, I completely believe that you are Uchiha Madara now, but, aren't you worried that I will rebel? You can try, Hanzo, I can give you freedom, or I can give you death, even impure world reincarnation can't stop me. The masked man said ambitiously. No one in this world can stop my ambition except Hashirama, and that guy Uchiha Kagami hinders my plan, and the 5 shadows will completely end his life. Well, although the 5 shadows are very strong, but... Hanzo hesitated for a moment and said, this girl seems to believe in his teacher's strength. What if the 5 shadows fail to solve Uchiha Kagami? Then I will kill him myself. The masked man said confidently. What is your purpose? Eye of the Moon, I will plunge the entire ninja world into a world of genjutsu, thereby bringing complete peace to the ninja world. Are you interested in joining? Anyway, I'm already alone. It doesn't matter, I'll join. Hanzo thought for a moment and said, but I hope that after getting rid of Nagato, I can regain control of Rain Shinobi village. It would be better for me to develop this village. Who said we want to deal with Nagato? The masked man looked strange. Hanzo was confused. Huh? Didn't you say you wanted to deal with Nagato? It's just a fight, not to kill Nagato. I want to use Conan's to make Nagato work for me. Only if you see the darkness of this world will you become my pawn. The masked man said calmly, but I am not suitable to show up. If you go with another stupid guy, I will ask Anbu from Kurigakure to cooperate with you. Remember, Yahiko must die in front of Nagato, not even Conan. No. Hanzo nodded. Although he was confused, he didn't ask any more questions. The reason why the masked man must let Yahiko die is actually very simple. Because Yahiko carries a heavier weight in Nagato's heart. Nagato may not listen to Conan if he owns Rinnegan, but he will definitely listen to Yahiko. And, to a certain extent, Nagato was influenced by Yahiko's leadership qualities. Conan is far inferior in this aspect. In order for Nagato to be blackened and resurrected by Rinne Tensai in the future, Yahiko must die to be on the safe side. Hanzo, I will watch you silently and don't do anything stupid. The masked man warned. I understand, Madara-sama. The masked man smiled inwardly. The corner of the mouth is harder to suppress than the AK. But Hanzo didn't know it clearly, he only saw the man's eyes flashing red. Tisk, tisk, a black hole actually appeared in front of me. The mysterious masked man walked in and quickly disappeared. Seeing this, Hanzo's pupils tightened, and he was shocked. Time and space ninjutsu. Uchiha Madara can even time and space ninjutsu, but it is completely different from Uchiha Kagami's flying thunder god. This guy is really well hidden. It seems he can only act obediently and deal with Yahiko and Nagato first. Outside Rain Shinobi Village, Yahiko and Nagato were rushing back. There were smiles on their faces, and they had no idea that something had happened to the village. And this time they accepted an order from Shao Ninja Village. The task was to simply kill the A-level rebellious ninja, which was very simple for them. But for Shao Ninja Village, A-level rebel ninja is the Jonin level. They simply don't have the right people to kill such ninjas. For Shao Ninja Village, there are endless tasks like this, and they made 3 million taels in just one stroke. As for Shao Ninja Village, the 5 Shadows attack on Konoha was considered news from the upper echelons. Only the top leaders of the 5 major countries knew the inside story, and even the villagers in their villages did not know, let alone Shao Ninja Village. Therefore, the Akatsuki organization is still a justice organization. This money is so easy to make, Yahiko said with a smile. Although Shao Ninja Village is a little poor, the task is so simple that even I can handle it. It can be completed without the teacher's intervention. If there were 10 orders, it would be at least more than 30 million taels. It's a sure profit and no loss, and the risk is still very low. Indeed, this kind of order is simple and hassle-free. The task of the Great Ninja Village is too troublesome, and it will affect the opponent's village at every turn. Nagato said helplessly. Sometimes I can't hide my clumsiness at all. I can't collect the wool after killing him at once, and it's also very troublesome to sneak into the enemy's village. Yes, but fortunately there is a teacher to help. Etc. Yahiko narrowed his eyes. A small white snake appeared. The snake's mouth suddenly opened and spit out a long scroll. Nagato asked curiously, "What?" The news sent by Orochimaru Senpai. This time there was no advance notice. It seems that the matter is very urgent. Yahiko took the scroll and scanned it quickly, and his expression suddenly changed. No. Just an hour ago, Orochimaru Senpai said. Hanzo broke free from the shackles of his impure world reincarnation and captured Konan alive. What? Quick. Go back quickly. No. Nagato didn't wait to say anything. Yahiko pointed around and immediately found a large number of ninjas surrounding them. On the mountain rock directly opposite, Konan's whole body was tied up, with a pitiful expression on his face, which made people feel distressed. Nagato, Yahiko, run. Don't save me. Danger, there are ambushes nearby. It doesn't matter if I'm alone. If I die, I'll die. You guys run away. Quote. Yahiko looked weird. Good guy. We all saw the ninjas around us. You don't need to remind me, the guy arranged by the teacher doesn't look like him. But fortunately, the people who are familiar with the 3 of them must be their own people, and Hanzo didn't seem to notice anything weird. Nagato seemed to have noticed something, and felt a little more at ease, but his expression was still extremely anxious. No, we must save you. Don't worry, Konan, no matter what, I will definitely save you. Konan said hysterically. No, you go quickly. Nagato, Yahiko, avenge me. If you have a chance in the future, you must feel the pleasure for me. Shut up. Don't think about sacrifice, we will definitely save you. Nagato suddenly shouted loudly. This guy is so awesome, his secrets are almost exposed. It's so obvious that even a fool can see it, right? But no matter what, Hanzo's IQ was about the same as that of an old dog, and he didn't notice anything was wrong at all. Hanzo couldn't help it anymore and angrily shouted, "Shut the hell up. Why are you making such a fuss? You brats are so noisy. That redhead, kill Yahiko, and I'll let this woman go. Otherwise, I can't guarantee what will happen next. Nagato, then kill him. Yahiko, Kill quickly, we still have to go home for dinner. Quote question mark question mark question mark quote. Hanzo was confused. What the hell? Want me to kill you quickly? This plot development, why is it completely different from what he thought? No, what are you talking about? Hanzo was a little doubtful about life, and said with fierce eyes, isn't this girl your companion? Or are you deliberately retreating in order to advance? Believe it or not, I will kill her now. Shinksen. I didn't expect that you would find out about retreating in order to advance. Yahiko turned around helplessly. Nagato, kill me. Okay. Nagato raised the kunai. Poof. He stabbed Yahiko in the waist. Blood flowed across his face and he collapsed on the spot. Although he looked dead, Nagato remained expressionless, even a little stupid. No, act quickly. Why is this kid so stunned? Conan on the cliff was a little anxious and immediately wailed, Yahiko. No, you can't die. You haven't gone to the toilet with me, you haven't felt shit together. No, my companion. Ah, Hanzo, I want your life. Only then did Nagato react. Rinnegan's eyes widened, and chakra surged from his body. Hanzo snorted coldly and immediately waved his hand. Do it. Yes, Master Hanzo. Quick, kill that red-haired brat. Mist Shinobi, who was disguised as Konoha Anbu, took action. Between his fierce eyes, dense kunai and shurikens flew towards him. Clang, dang, dang, dang. Nagato raised his right hand. Bounce all the shurikens and kunai away. Nagato bent his legs, jumped onto the cliff, and immediately picked up Conan to retreat. Don't even think about it. Fire style detonate the flame array. Hanzo's long hair is flowing. While retreating, he pressed one hand on the ground. A large number of detonating symbols emerged and were about to cover Nagato's legs. In the past, Nagato might have really been hit, but after Uchiha Kagami's teachings and opening his eyes in advance, such attacks were too little of a threat to him. There are so many ways to deal with Nagato today. Earth-style Earthstone Dragon. Nagato shouted in his heart. The ground suddenly shattered and turned into a large amount of stone. The stones quickly formed a stone dragon, lifting Nagato and Conan high. The detonating talisman on the ground exploded, but it had no effect. Thank you, Nagato, thank you. Conan burst into tears and said with a bit of vulgarity, if we have the opportunity to poop together in the future, this is my highest respect for you. Shut up, Nagato whispered with disgust on his face. Don't cause trouble for me at this time. If the teacher hadn't said you were useful, otherwise I wouldn't have let you pretend to be Conan. How can a girl always talk about shit and shit? Ah Fei grinned and said sternly, I know, but I can't help it, but Uchiha Kagami arranged for me to pretend to be Conan to prevent Conan from having an accident. What if the other party breaks up with me? I'm very strong. Okay, shut up. Good. And Hanzo not far away. Looking up at this moment, I couldn't help but sigh in my heart, as expected of a brat with a Rinnegan. Can he actually block my detonating flame formation? But this kid has really turned dark. Although he looks similar, he doesn't have any special power. Quote. However, Nagato seemed to dispel doubts. He raised his hand and pressed it to the ground, his eyes filled with hatred. Summoning technique Gedo statue. Ho ho. There was an angry shout. The huge half-body Gedo statue emerged from the ground. But because Nagato was normal in advance, there was no need to drain his life when the chakra was enough, so the golem did not get out of the iron rod. With one hand raised, he killed a large number of enemies. Then, even more so in the mouth of the golem, a long translucent dragon emerged. The souls of all enemies wherever it went were devoured, leaving no trace behind. Ah, no, what kind of ninjutsu is this? I don't want to die. Run, everyone, run. Quote. The shrill screams continued. In less than a moment, the numerous mist shinobi Anbu were completely killed. And as Nagato roared again, the translucent dragon slammed into Hanzo, and it looked like a huge crisis. Blinking technique. But Hanzo was not panicked. Form a seal with one hand and dodge in an instant. Appearing behind a big tree 100 meters away, it seemed that after seeing the golem disappear, he showed a triumphant expression. This power is powerful. But Nagato is still too young. Although I was defeated by Uchiha Kagami, I was still the pinnacle of the ninja world. But this time is enough to prove that Nagato has gone dark, and those mist shinobi ninjas disguised as Konoha Anbu, even though they are dead, they have been used to their full potential. The mission assigned to me by Madara-sama has been completed. Hanzo, why are you planning to run away? Suddenly, there was a joking voice in front of him. I didn't know when Nagato appeared in front of him. Moreover, there was a jar placed next to him. This jar was all yellow and looked ordinary, but it made Hanzo quite uneasy. What? Wait, this is a Six Paths ninja tool. You, no. Hanzo just responded with a few words. Nagato opened the lid of the amber bottle. Aiming directly at him, Hanzo was completely sucked in, and his entire body disappeared. Success. Conan walked over and said with a surprised expression, it is indeed a Six Paths ninja tool. It is more reliable than ordinary sealing techniques. Impure world reincarnation can also seal it. Nagato said with a smile. Yes, the teacher gave it to me before he left. He had already expected that Madara might release Hanzo's control of the dirt to deal with you. This amber purification bottle looks ordinary, but it will be sucked into it as long as you respond. Cloud Shinobi Village uses this to seal the rampaging Eight Tails. But since Hanzo was sealed, Uchiha Madara should be left alone. Ah-Fei suddenly thought of it and immediately reminded, where is Yahiko? Go and recover Yahiko's body, otherwise the wound will be healed in a while. Yahiko was stabbed in the waist by a kunai just now. If he followed the past, he would definitely die, but Uchiha Kagami was prepared. He asked Orochimaru to develop various versions of Hashirama potions, one of which was a potion that could temporarily increase vitality, although it could only last for a day or two. But a mere kunai is not a fatal injury at all and will heal soon. It's okay to pretend to be dead. Oh, I almost forgot. Nagato hurriedly walked over, but the next second, the space suddenly became distorted. A masked man appears next to Yahiko's corpse. He looked up and down at Nagato, Conan, and Yahiko's body, seemingly thinking about something. Nagato was just wary, but soon showed a gentle smile. Who are you? Time and space ninjutsu. Wait, the teacher said. This time and space ninjutsu, which is different from Flying Thunder God, seems to be Minato's only disciples can do it. Are you Obito? Why are you here? The teacher didn't tell me. And one listened to Obito. The masked man suddenly became anxious and said with cold eyes, what Obito? Your whole family is Obito. I am Uchiha Madara. Nagato, Conan, Yahiko. Daughter, you acting for me? Deliberately deceiving me. What, are you Uchiha Madara? Nagato and Conan looked at each other. I suddenly panicked, it was over now. The plan of pretending to be black was discovered by Uchiha Madara, and Afe was even more cowardly, and he was extremely afraid. To know, as a double agent, he only needs to provide information. It is absolutely impossible for this kind of plan to help Uchiha Kagami. If Madara knew about it, she would definitely die, but Kagami convinced herself. After agreeing, let him use the toilet in Konoha unobstructed. Finally he agreed. This is tantamount to betraying Uchiha Madara, and being caught red-handed by the tail, isn't this a total loss? However, the masked man in front of him didn't seem to see through Afe's disguise. Instead, he looked at Yahiko who was lying on the ground. After realizing that his injuries had healed, he suddenly showed strong murderous intent. Dare to lie to me? Go to hell. He raised his hand and threw out the kunai. It is about to penetrate Yahiko, but Yahiko cannot react in time. But Nagato raised his hand and flicked the kunai away, and Conan immediately brought Yahiko over. After Yahiko recovered, he was too lazy to pretend and asked coldly. Who are you? You are definitely not Uchiha Madara. The teacher said that Uchiha Madara's time is approaching and there is no way he will take action. Hehe. The masked man sneered. You know nothing about Uchiha. It seems that Uchiha Kagami plans to let you deceive me. It's really insidious. If I hadn't been worried about Hanzo doing something stupid, I would have been deceived by you. Since you can't be used by me, Nagato, then hand over the Rinnegan. In fact, your Rinnegan is mine. I transplanted it when you were young and kept it with you temporarily. Now it's time for it to return to its original owner. Is it? Lol, Nagato said seriously. What evidence do you have that this is your Rinnegan? Is your name written on it? Quote. The masked man was speechless for a moment. Is this guy so shameless now? No, who taught him that? How could a good young man suddenly become such a rogue? No matter how you argue, these eyes belong to me, not yours. The masked man took a deep breath, held back his temper and said, Kid, I advise you to hand over Rinnegan honestly, otherwise, you will not be able to bear the consequences. If you were really Uchiha Madara, you wouldn't be just a threat. I'm curious about who else besides the teacher and Obito actually possesses the Flying Thunder God technique. Please stay with me. Shiradao fingertip missile. Nagato smiled lightly. Open your hands and twist them quickly. The mechanism popped up missiles one after another and blasted them hard at the opponent. But no explosion was heard. I saw the masked man just standing there, and the space in front of him was actually distorted. Tisk, tisk. The moment the missile touched, it was directly distorted and disappeared. Seeing this scene, Nagato's pupils suddenly tightened. All my attacks failed. Space distortion. Is this guy's time and space ninjutsu? Is he really Madara? Quote. And at this moment, the masked man stood there, although his face could not be seen. But his exposed eyes were scarlet. He looked at Nagato and said sarcastically, Nagato, these Rinnegans are not your original match after all. No matter what. You can't predict the adaptation. I advise you not to struggle. You will never stand a chance of winning against my time and space ninjutsu. I don't believe it. Universal pull. Nagato does not believe in evil. He opened his right hand, and his palm seemed to turn into a black hole. The black hole burst out with endless gravitational force, which directly acted on the opponent's body, and his body was quickly pulled towards him. The moment you get close, a black stick came out of Nagato's sleeve and stabbed the masked man hard. Huh, it's interesting. The masked man raised his eyebrows lightly and clenched his fingers. The space twisted again. This time it seemed more powerful than the last time, and most of the black rod was distorted and disappeared. Not good. Can't continue. Nagato's expression changed slightly. They were about to distance themselves immediately, but the masked man stepped forward. There seemed to be strange forces affecting the surroundings. Nagato had no choice but to open his hands and shout lowly. Shinra Tenjang. Boom. The ground and surrounding trees collapsed. The boundless repulsive force rolled out, forcing the opponent back dozens of meters. Although this level of Shinra Tensei seems to have little power, in fact, each strike can severely damage a Jonin. But not only was the masked man unscathed, he just dusted off the invisible dust on his body. Nagato was shocked inside, with a solemn expression. This guy's time and space ninjutsu is completely different from the teacher's Flying Thunder God. It is similar to Obito's, but it seems different. The surroundings seem to be able to distort space at will. If I hadn't reacted quickly and released the Shinra Tenjang just now, my body would have been twisted in half. But again, the opponent's time and space ninjutsu seems to be able to offset more than half of the Shinra Tenjang of this scale, but it seems that it cannot be completely ignored. This is why. This power is really weird. Is he really Uchiha Madara? He doesn't know much about Uchiha Madara. Although he has heard a few words from his teacher, he still doesn't know what kind of power Uchiha Madara has. Does he also know how to use time and space ninjutsu? Not far away, Yahiko and Konan looked anxious, and the latter seemed to be ready to make a move. At this moment, the masked man's scarlet eyes showed a hint of joking. I said, Nagato, you are no match for me. Even if you have my Rinnegan and have been trained by Uchiha Kagami for a while, you will never be my opponent. In front of me, Uchiha Madara, even if Senju Hashirama appears in front of me again, he cannot defeat me. As soon as these words came out, suddenly, there is an extra branch in front of me. It also seemed to be smeared with disgusting yellow slime. Ah Fei suddenly emerged from the ground, and while using the cutting technique, his face was full of disdain and sarcasm. You are definitely not Uchiha Madara. Madara-sama will not belittle Senju Hashirama like this. You fake, I'm going to eat shit. Whoosh. Ah Fei raised his hand and shook it. The branches shot through the air and were about to pierce the opponent's head. But the masked man raised his hand and made a gentle move, and the space became distorted again, and the branches were erased, smashed, and even exploded, leaving nothing left. Won't even wood style work? Ah Fei looked shocked. He looked at the masked man in front of him with a look of shock and fear. When the masked man saw the creature attacking him in front of him, his expression suddenly turned cold. "Afei, how dare you betray me? You guys who eat the inside out, you'd better die. Fire style great fireball technique. Hooray! Hurrah!" The sky was covered with flames. And Afei went directly into the ground, and Nagato's ninjutsu followed. Water style water dragon bomb technique. Large areas of rainwater appeared out of thin air. It turned into a water dragon and collided with the fireball. The flames caused the water to evaporate quickly, turning into a large amount of steam that enveloped it, blocking the opponent's sight. The next second, Nagato appeared behind him. While his hands quickly formed seals, a large shuriken was thrown out. Not only that, with the activation of the shuriken shadow clone technique, these shuriken actually doubled again, and the denseness looked amazing. Little tricks. Earth style wall. The masked man sneered. He raised his hand and pressed it on the ground, and the ground suddenly shook. A thick earthen wall was drilled out, but unlike ordinary earthen walls, this wall also had a head sculpture of Uchiha Madara carved on it. Nagato keenly sensed something was wrong. He actually started using ninjutsu. With his time and space ninjutsu, he could easily erase the shurikens. Why did he use the earth flow wall to resist it instead? Although he is still young now, but he has already mastered a large number of top 5 escape ninjutsu. Under the training of Uchiha Kagami, he has far exceeded his previous level, and his combat awareness is no longer the same as before. And the other party is definitely Sharingan. And it's most likely Mangekyō's Sharingan. With Sharingan's ability, it is naturally useless to envelop him in water mist, because Sharingan can see through the enemy's chakra flow. After guessing the enemy's methods, Nagato made a quick decision and raised his right hand again. Universal pull. In an instant, the majestic suction force suddenly burst out. He pulled the masked man towards him, and the corners of his mouth showed sarcasm. "Nagato. You still dare to use universal pull? You are looking for death. As long as my hand touches you, then you will be erased from the space." The moment the masked man approached him, before Nagato could make a move, he raised his hand to touch the opponent. But the corners of Nagato's mouth curled up slightly. While his right hand remained motionless, his left hand was also raised. Another universal pull was launched, and a rock not far away was controlled and smashed towards the side of the masked man in front of him. What? Universal pull with both hands at the same time? This kid is not simple. The masked man's pupils suddenly tightened. Before he could react, Sharingan's eyes suddenly turned. The space in front of him was greatly distorted, and his whole body was sucked in and disappeared, but he soon appeared on a high cliff. The two of them confronted each other like this. No one took action, but Nagato said with a faint smile, "Your time and space ninjutsu seems to have drawbacks. You can only cause space distortion through physical contact. This attack can distort anything, but the range is only about half your body. Just the fact that you use the earth current wall to block it just now can prove this. And it can only trigger one place at the same time, otherwise. Just now you could have killed me with space distortion with one hand, and twisted away the stones I pulled away with the other hand. Okay, kid, is there anything else?" The masked man pretended to be calm. "Of course, you just caused a large-scale space distortion and carried out time and space movement. The range exceeds your attack method, but such similar time and space movement is not harmful." Nagato pointed at him and regained his confidence. "Although your time and space ninjutsu is strong, you cannot fully block my universal pull and Shinra Tensai. The strongest lethality can only be achieved by touch. You are much weaker than I thought. You are definitely not Uchiha Madara. At least, my teacher said that only a certain Kakashi likes to carve dog heads on earthen walls, and no one else does it. Then you just carved Madara's head just out of guilt. Who are you?" "Hehe, I am Uchiha Madara, forget it if you don't believe me." The masked man has a tough mouth. But his heart sank. Nagato exceeded his expectations. Unexpectedly, his fighting consciousness was so strong. After only 2 or 3 moves, he discovered the weakness of his own time and space ninjutsu. Although this caught him off guard, he didn't panic. The masked man sneered and said calmly, "Although your analysis is good, the secret of time and space ninjutsu, you may not know everything. How do you know that I didn't expose a fake weakness just now?" It's possible, but I believe you are just a strong person. Nagato analyzed again. Since you have seen through our plan. If you were really capable just now, you could have killed me and taken away Rinnegan, but you didn't. This proves that your strength is nothing more than this. Then see you next time. Nagato kid, my Rinnegan will be temporarily stored in you. Next time when I get all the power back, then, the Rinnegan will have to be returned to its original owner. Tisk, tisk. The masked man's eyes flashed red. Suddenly, the space in front of him became distorted again. After the masked man walked in, the space slowly recovered and then disappeared. Yahiko came over and asked a little puzzled, he left. Why not keep him? This person saw through the teacher's plan. He will be a big threat in the future. You think I don't want to? Nagato rolled his eyes and explained. The summoning Geto statue with Hanzo just now consumed a lot of my chakra. The mysterious masked man didn't really use his full strength, so I'm not sure to keep him. Oh, I understand. Yahiko nodded. Quote. The fake Konin has long since returned to his original state. Ah-Fei thought for a moment and said, I plan to report to Master Madara. There must be something wrong with this person's impersonation. I am a double agent now, so I can only do this. Are you sure? That person may be from Uchiha Madara. Once he accuses you of being a traitor, then you are dead. Yahiko frowned. I didn't rebel. Where did I rebel? Ah-Fei smiled and said confidently, he is Master Madara's subordinate. I don't know. Are you going to kill me just because I threw a branch stained with gold juice? Besides, I am the first loyal minister to follow Madara-sama. He also needs someone to keep an eye on you. So as long as I have value, he won't kill me. Then you go. Okay. Ah-Fei nodded. Then it went into the ground and quickly disappeared. Nagato and Yahiko returned to Rain Shinobi Village and found the hidden Konin. The three of them just sat on the high tower, looking at the rain all over the sky. Not long after, Uchiha Kagami also appeared. The Yahiko trio immediately stood up. His face was full of remorse and regret. Yahiko looked ashamed. Teacher. I'm sorry, I messed up your plan. Uchiha Madara sent a masked man who called himself him, and the space ninjutsu was hidden in the dark during the meeting. Without him, the plan would have really come true. Oh, that means Nagato can no longer be an undercover agent? Uchiha Kagami asked. As such that, what are the physical characteristics of that masked man? What kind of time and space ninjutsu? Nagato pondered for a moment and said, in appearance, he is wearing a black robe and an Uzumaki mask that only exposes his eyes. He looks very similar to Uchiha Madara in temperament, but there are some differences. How should I say? Uchiha Madara is crazy. He seems to be a bit mentally disturbed. There is also a sculpture of Madara's head specially carved on the earth flow wall. As for the time and space ninjutsu, I have already fought with him. It uses the body to release space distortion, which can invalidate any attack. But the disadvantage is that it is only about half the body, so it cannot resist my Shinra Tensei and universal pull, but it can also greatly weaken their power. Another ability is to cause large-scale distortion of space, thereby completing long-distance space movement. But this move can only move but not attack. Uchiha Kagami's eyes lit up and he praised, okay, Nagato. Has a strong sense of combat. He caught the opponent's weakness so quickly. He did a good job. Teacher is too praised, hee. Young Nagato's face turned red. A little embarrassed, but very happy. Konin frowned and asked, Teacher, who is this person? He probably also owns the Mangekyō Sharingan. We all mistakenly thought it was Obito at first, but we didn't realize it was not until he took action. I don't know, but it must not be Obito. Uchiha Kagami also frowned. I thought that after this plan, I could let Uchiha Madara play with it. But I didn't expect that the other party actually found a new way. Instead of using Obito, he replaced him with a spokesperson to help him implement Project Tsuki no Mi. Or he, a spoiler dog, has no idea at all. But there is no doubt that this person has a high probability of being a member of the Uchiha clan. After all, Mangekyō, who can awaken the time and space ninjutsu, can only exert great power on the original owner, but who exactly is unknown. This is the variable caused by the butterfly effect. Yahiko asked patiently. Then teacher, what should we do now? Should we continue if the plan fails? No, it's not necessary. Uchiha Kagami shook his head and warned, but you don't have to worry too much. Nagato summoned the Geto statue for the first time. Without the vitality provided by the Geto statue, Uchiha Madara will die within 3 days. I have already taken care of the 5 shadows. The third ninja war will also end. Just be careful of that mysterious masked man. Yahiko and Conan. You two, please be safe. I will play with him. Is teacher, Hill Cemetery. In the underground space, the huge Geto statue is missing. The old Uchiha Madara was sitting on a wooden chair, his breath getting weaker and weaker, and he was almost on the verge of death. After a while, the space began to distort, and the masked man came out. Uchiha Madara asked weakly, "Did the plan succeed?" The masked man lowered his head and said respectfully, "I'm sorry, Madara-sama, the plan failed." Nagato did not turn black. They seem to have known that Rinnegan is yours. And I expected that you wanted to get Nagato to surrender, and planned to deceive you. But I found out, and I came back after a fight with Nagato. That's it. I know, ahem. Old Madara is very calm. But I have some doubts in my heart. What went wrong? Logically speaking, only a few people knew that he was transplanted to Nagato Rinnegan, only Black Zetsu, a Fei and Barb White Zetsu. Someone should know. But the other party learned about it in advance. He even lost the chance to conquer Nagato. This made him a little surprised but not angry. However, at this moment, a curly-headed white Zetsu suddenly emerged from the ground. This person is none other than Ah Fei. As soon as Ah Fei appeared, the masked man pointed out coldly, "Master Madara, that's him, it's him who betrayed you." He disguised himself as Conan and deceived Hanzo. And Nagato pretended to be dark and sealed Hanzo with the 6 Paths Ninja. He didn't tell you all this. He has definitely rebelled. Really, Fei, give me an explanation. Elderly Madara said calmly. Madara-sama, I did not betray. Ah Fei said very sincerely. After all, I am a spy over there. I didn't want to get involved in these things. But that evil Uchiha Kagami actually tempted me with Konoha's toilet, so I had no choice but to agree. Then why didn't you report it in advance? Madara asked again. Ah Fei was speechless for a moment. The elderly Madara stared at him and said to himself, "Because you feel that Uchiha Kagami has seen through my plan in advance and made Obito and Nagato all belong to him, and there will never be a chance to be used by me again, so you temporarily switched sides. Now that you see that I have someone available to me, or a mysterious ninja who possesses time and space ninjutsu, you feel that I have hope of victory again. So you are back again. Come and show your loyalty to me." "I don't, Madara-sama." Ah Fei was panicked. "Fei, I never thought you White Zetsu were very loyal." The elderly Madara said quietly, "And Uchiha Kagami's ability to single-handedly suppress the 5 shadows indeed exceeded my expectations. There is nothing wrong with you betting on both sides. But jumping sideways repeatedly, it's your fault. Before starting a war, you will be eliminated first. No matter which side you are on, you will not be tolerated. If you don't do this next time, you will be responsible for the consequences." "Yes, Madara-sama." Ah Fei breathed a sigh of relief. I couldn't help but start to think deeply. This was the first time he began to think about which side he should choose. And this time, the masked man was shocked and dumbfounded when he heard what had just happened. "Madara-sama, you just said that Uchiha Kagami defeated the 5 cages. Wasn't his Mangekyō almost blind? How did you do it?" "It is false that Mangekyō is blind, a rumor that Uchiha Kagami deliberately spreads. Originally I guessed that his Mangekyō was not blind, but now it seems that not only is he not blind, but he also has the Mangekyō Sharingan that will never burn out. He's just like me back then. He even has a wood style that's not weaker than Hashirama's. He even defeated the 5 cages will with his complete Susanoo. What a good boy." The elderly Madara was not afraid at all, but suddenly laughed. "Ha ha. Ha ha ha. I originally thought, no one in this world can stop me except Hashirama. Now it seems that a second person has appeared, ha ha ha. I am not alone in my ways. I am not alone in my ways." Madara-sama. The masked man was a little confused. It's unclear why Uchiha Madara suddenly laughed. The old face was full of expectation and could even be said to be crazy, but it gave people an ultimate charm that he couldn't help but be fascinated by. And for Madara, after Hashirama's death, the entire ninja world had no rival. And he personally is a hero among heroes. In terms of personality charm, strategy, strength, and eloquence, he has already surpassed any Uchiha. In order to create an ideal peaceful world, after he saw the stone tablet left by Sage of Six Paths at Nanga Shrine, he began to prepare the layout for the Eye of the Moon. Even though Hashirama is dead, but he still hopes that someone will appear in the ninja world who can stop him. It's a pity that after so many years, the top ninjas who emerged in the ninja world are all dead weight. Even the so-called ninja world demigod is just a person in name only. Hehe, just gravel, not half as good as him. But now the appearance of Uchiha Kagami made him suddenly excited. This junior's strength surpasses everyone in the ninja world except him. We can even say, apart from the fact that Rinnegan has not been activated yet, his strength is not much different from what he was in his heyday. You must know that the Uchiha clan is warlike, and even he, Uchiha Madara, is no exception, and during the implementation of Project Tasuki no Mi, it would be too boring if everything goes smoothly. And Uchiha Kagami happens to be strong enough. And he seems to be quite good at strategy, having stopped himself from planning several times. After laughing loudly, the elderly Madara coughed repeatedly, her eyes full of anticipation. Cough cough, cough cough. Not bad, not bad. There is finally an opponent who can rival me in the ninja world, haha. It's from our Uchiha clan. Originally, I looked down upon that group of clan members. They all had no ambition, and were so small that they couldn't even accommodate their own people. Now it seems that our clan is still the same Uchiha clan. When I come back to life in the future, I can actually play with this junior. What about Nagato? Do you need me to snatch the Rinnegan? The masked man asked. Put it aside for the moment. Although your time and space ninjutsu is powerful, it is definitely no match for Uchiha Kagami. If you die too, then the plan will completely fail. Uchiha Madara became weaker and weaker, and there was a trace of fear in his eyes, but the Rinnegan must be taken back. If Uchiha Kagami desperately takes away Nagato's Rinnegan, he may be the first to take it. And I'm going to die soon. This task will be left to you. If possible, it's best to wait until Uchiha Kagami relaxes his guard before taking action. Yes, Lord Madara. The masked man nodded respectfully. Black Zetsu is my will, and you are an extension of my will. I've taught you everything I need to teach you. From now on, you will be Uchiha Madara. You don't have to worry about the mirror exposing you. Ahem, he doesn't have any evidence to prove this. Black Zetsu will also help you. But you must be careful and don't be reckless. Before my resurrection, it's best not to expose your identity. If there are obstacles to the plan, choose a backup plan, hide my body, wait until the opportunity. Uchiha Madara gave everything. His eyes gradually dimmed, and then he became completely silent. After watching the whole process, Afe couldn't help but feel sad that a generation of heroes had come to an end, even if it was temporary. I'm going back first. I will selectively report the information here to Uchiha Kagami, but I will also keep an eye on him at all times, to prevent him from destroying our plan. Afe disappeared into the ground. After he left, Black Zetsu emerged. The masked man had a stern look on his face. Afe can't stay any longer. This guy is a loser and has an uncertain stance. It will hinder Madara-sama's plan. Even if there is a slight possibility of betrayal, we must get rid of it. He still has value, and there is still use in keeping him. Black Zetsu said hoarsely. If he really betrays, then we can completely use the trick to trick Uchiha Kagami with false information. Perhaps we can use this to steal Madara-sama's Rinnegan. But you need to plan it in detail. Uchiha Kagami's plan was discovered by you, and he will definitely be by Nagato's side now, so we have to wait for some time. Okay, I'll listen to you. The masked man nodded. Yeah, I'm going to hide Madara-sama's body first to make sure there are no accidents in the plan. Go ahead, Black Zetsu responded. Then he took Madara's body into the ground. The masked man stared at his disappearing shadow, feeling disgust and suspicion in his heart. A black, ugly, disgusting goo, it doesn't look like a human being at all. It's actually Madara-sama's will. Haha, But Master Madara said that you are his will, so be it. But as long as I find out that you have evil intentions, don't blame me for being cruel. Konoha 51 years. Hatake Tsukumo and his son defeated Hyakura. And Kakashi even had the title of Sharingan Kakashi, and Tsunagakure was completely defeated. Namikaze Minato is Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. Plus the Flying Thunder God is constantly shuttled across the battlefield. Defeated the 7 Kurigakure ninja swordsmen, the 7 first-generation swordsmen Juzo, Tsukuyomi Fugu Oni, Kushimaru Kurisu, Tongsao Yebiman, Muli Jinpachi, and Black Ho Raiga, all of whom died. Later, he even supported Konoha Jonin. After killing Iwagakure's explosion-style carry, Onoki's son Ui fled in panic. The name Namikaze Minato, Yellow Flash, once again became famous in the ninja world, and his combat achievements have also accumulated to an astonishing level, and the people have become more and more trusting in Minato. At the beginning of the year, Minato took over as 4th Hokage. Well received. But these are not the most exciting. The most exciting news is that the 5 shadows joined forces for the first time and were defeated by Uchiha Kagami alone. Then not long after the incident, rumors spread in the ninja world that it was false news that the Akatsuki organization and the United Mirror defrauded tens of billions. Iwagakure, Cloud Shinobi Village, Tsunagakure joint statement. Shao organization is a legal and compliant organization with no fraud. And the major ninja villages announced their surrender that afternoon. The Third Ninja World War was completely over, and Konoha became the only winner. And Konoha's losses in this war were minimal. Different from the original work, Might Dai was not sacrificed, and Konoha became more prosperous. And Uchiha Kagami's reputation reached its peak and became a new legend in the ninja world. In addition to Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara. The only one, the living legend of the ninja world. You're so awesome. The 5 dignified Kage teamed up for the first time. This luxurious lineup was defeated by Uchiha Kagami. It's no wonder that with such strength, he has become a legend in the ninja world. What 5 Kage? It's obviously just Cloud Shinobi Village, Iwagakure and Tsunagakure. I think their strength is only average. I can do it even if I go up to them. If you really can blow it, 5 shadows are not 5 shadows. That is, which one is not awesome, the 3rd Raikage or the 4th Raikage? That is to say, the 4th Kage is a little too stretched, the 3rd Kage is known as the strongest Kage in history, and the 3rd Tsuchikage is even more proficient in dust escape. That's right, this kind of lineup was defeated by Uchiha Kagami alone. How can it be average in strength? As a new legend of the ninja world, I think it is completely qualified. That's not as good as Uchiha Madara and the God of Ninja. Although I have never seen these two in person, you must know that there are statues of these two in the Valley of the End. You are not retarded upstairs. Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama have been dead for many years. The statue was built to commemorate them. What's wrong? Can't we build statues while we're still alive? It makes sense. Anyway, although Uchiha Kagami is so powerful, I always feel that there is something missing from these two. Is it because he didn't die? That makes sense. Shish, shut up, be careful not to be overheard. But I really think I can build a statue while I'm alive. You know, Uchiha Kagami single-handedly defeated the 5 Kages, and the ninja world was peaceful again. This kind of achievement is fully qualified to build a statue. Public opinion in the ninja world continues to ferment. And because of the battle between Uchiha Kagami and the 5 Kages. As a result, the Kingdom of Grass was almost pushed aside, and Rain Shinobi Village took the opportunity to send out the Akatsuki organization and incorporated the Grass Shinobi Village into a righteous organization. So far, Rain Shinobi Village's expanded territory. The buffer zone between the 5 great ninja villages has become completely monolithic. Konoha Village. A celebration banquet was held that afternoon. It just so happened that this day was also Uchiha Kagami's birthday, so we decided to hold it together. This time there were many more than last time, plus all the Jonin from Konoha, everyone from the root organization, the intelligence department, and the medical department. Altogether, there were almost hundreds of people. Certainly, there are only 13 people who can actually sit at the same table as Uchiha Kagami. The older generation are the 4 members of the second Hokage escort team, Sarutobi Hiruzen, Udatane Kaharu, Mitokado Homura, and Akamaiki Takafang. followed by Konoha Sanin Orochimaru, Jiraiya, Tsunade, and the young Jonin. Of course it's the now loved Namikaze Minato. As the only direct disciple of Uchiha Kagami, and with the blessing of 4th Hokage, Minato's current status can be said to be at its peak. As for the Uchiha clan, the only one who can sit at the same table as Kagami is Fugaku, the deputy clan leader. The remaining ones are the heads of the 3 major clans of Konoha, namely Hyuga Hiyashi, Yamanaka Haichi, and Nara Shikaku. And Uchiha Kagami is the protagonist. Until today, he has completely become a power and status in Konoha that even the Hokage cannot shake, and he is admired and respected by everyone. After all, except for the older generation, Uchiha Kagami is 39 years old this year, only 1 year shy of 40. In addition to the main table, there are also Jonin tables, children's tables, family tables, etc. Originally, his courtyard was not enough, but Fugaku directly expanded the clan leader's courtyard, and it could still accommodate a mere 100 people. On the huge round table, Uchiha Kagami raised his glass and said with emotion, "The war is over. We in Konoha have lost almost no losses except for part of the impure world reincarnation troops, including the middle and lower level ninjas. Konoha did not decline because of the war, on the contrary, the village became stronger. Minato single-handedly defeated all the major ninja villages. My village has made penultimate contributions, but my disciple is still young after all. He has just taken up the post of 4th Hokage. I hope you can do your best to help him. Thank you all. This is what we should do. You don't have to worry, Mr. 4th Hokage is very good, and we will do our best to assist him. But your military exploits are obvious to all. If you hadn't defeated the 5 shadows, this battlefield would never have ended so quickly." The heads of the major clans sincerely praised him. Including Jiraiya also stood up. He seemed to have drunk a lot, and said with a flush on his face, "Mirror, no need to say more, my choice at the beginning was not wrong, you will bring peace to the ninja world. I have read all the opinions of the people in the ninja world, and I think you are fully qualified to build a statue, just like 1st Hokage and Uchiha Madara." "I don't think so, big pervert," Tsunade muttered. "Building a statue. It's a good choice," Orochimaru said hoarsely. Uchiha Kagami shook his head and laughed. "We will discuss this later. Now we have just ended the war. Although the upper-level ninjas have not lost much, there are still a lot of financial losses. The statue is too expensive, so there is no rush for the time being." "Okay, let's put it on hold for now." Everyone agreed. Since Jing said it won't work for the time being, it won't work for the time being. Even if someone disagrees in their heart, they won't say much. "But thank you for your suggestions. The statue can not only enhance my prestige, but also inspire young ninjas in Konoha and promote my reputation in Konoha. It kills 2 birds with 1 stone. This plan is feasible. Okay, the rest is in the wine, I'll do it, you can do whatever you want." Uchiha Kagami raised his glass. The main table includes everyone at the other tables. They all drank it down in one go, and then it became very casual and not that much polite. Orochimaru, as the 3rd Hokage, sat on the right-hand side of the mirror, while Minato sat on the left-hand side of the mirror. The former was drinking wine and eating side dishes, not to mention how happy he was. Uchiha Kagami slapped his shoulder and said with a smile, "Orochimaru, don't you regret not being a Hokage? You are only 1 year younger than me, and you can still be a Hokage for 10 or 20 years. I don't want to. Being a Hokage is too tiring. If I stay as a Hokage for another 20 years, I will definitely be bald. I can't ruin my hair. It's more interesting to do scientific research." Orochimaru shrugged. "Well, I already knew you wouldn't last more than a few years." "You expected that?" "Certainly," Uchiha Kagami asked. "Since you are no longer a Hokage, you have to do me a favor. There is still a charm on Obito's heart. I need you to help him remove the charm. Do you have any idea?" "I have checked it before, this spell is not simple." Orochimaru narrowed his eyes and said hoarsely, "He cannot destroy it himself, nor can he commit suicide. He can only use external force, or directly destroy the heart and grow a heart with Hashirama cells to replace his original heart. But the technical difficulty is a bit high. After all, it's the heart. Give me some time." "No problem. Is there anything else? Also, it's just a small thing. Uchiha Kagami thought for a while and said, I want to go to Shigu Forest and learn some celestial arts, but there is no way. As Katsuyu's contractor, Tsunade should be able to bring me in. You and Tsunade have a good relationship. Please ask me if it's okay. Why don't you say it yourself? With your current position as the voice of authority in Konoha, Tsunade has no reason to refuse you. Orochimaru was surprised. I know, but, Uchiha Kagami said awkwardly. I looked for her last time and went to her house, but I accidentally saw her taking a shower. Tsunade was so angry that she almost toppled the house. I'm probably very angry right now. I can't say anything. I can only rely on you, brother. Operator. Operator. Orochimaru pondered. Then I'm afraid I can't help you. You know Tsunade's temper. If I go over there to plead for mercy for you, she will definitely beat me to death. Orochimaru admitted. Are you afraid of something stupid? Uchiha Kagami narrowed his eyes and said, Don't think I don't know. Your body is almost filled with Hashirama cells, and your strength must be much stronger than Tsunade. Are you afraid of her? You have good eyesight, but it doesn't matter whether you are strong or not. What's important is that you can't mess with an angry woman. I still understand this. Orochimaru looked back with memories. When I was young, in order to chase Tsunade, Jiraiya asked me to cooperate with him in a heroic rescue, but I was beaten to a pulp by Tsunade. Now that I think about it, how could I have agreed to Jiraiya and do such a stupid thing? Uchiha Kagami looked at him. I couldn't help but sigh in my heart. Orochimaru is really different. The difference from the original work is that he only experienced the death of the sacred tree, while Kato-dan originally fought with Iwagakure and was accidentally ambushed and died. But due to the Second Ninja War, Uchiha Kagami and Senju Tobirama teamed up to defeat Onoki and Third Raikage, causing Iwagakure to surrender early, so Kato-dan did not die. Orochimaru at this stage, although his personality is still a bit cold, he is cold on the outside and warm on the inside. He still has a bond with the two friends Tsunade and Jiraiya, which is one of his purposes in helping him become the third Hokage. During the Third Ninja War, Orochimaru and Minato were both Hokage candidates. But no matter what, the exposure of human experiments led to his defection. He actually had a lot of ups and downs along the way, but fortunately nothing happened. Orochimaru couldn't help feeling a chill when he saw Jing's soft eyes. No, Jing, you don't have any special hobbies, right? Let me tell you, I am a very clean person and am willing to dedicate my life to science. You can't even think of it. You idiot, don't make such an ethical joke with me. Uchiha Kagami rolled her eyes at him. I like women, okay. The more beautiful they are, the more I like them. Then why don't you find another one? Orochimaru asked curiously. You haven't thought about it at all after so many years. Although you are not young anymore, you can definitely find someone in your 20s. Do you want me to introduce you to him? There are many outstanding girls from the Nara, Akamaiki, and Yamanaka clans. When I was the third Hokage, they even tried to introduce them to me. Old cow eating young grass. Forget it. Uchiha Kagami shook his head. He accidentally glanced at Tsunade diagonally opposite, wearing gray shorts on the lower body and a loose green robe on the upper body. She boldly stepped on the stool next to her with one foot, exposing her long and white thighs, while drinking heavily with the people around her. Of course this is not the point. The key point is that the pair on the chest are so spectacular. Tsunade seemed to notice his gaze, turned his head and looked over, and immediately pouted and said, HMPH. You men have such a bad ability to drink. You got drunk after just 4 or 5 drinks. None of you can drink more than me. I'll do it. Tsunade, I can do it. Shut up. You drank and vomited once, so stop showing off. Jiraiya raised his hand drowsily. But he was pushed down by his little friend, muttering something in his mouth. Tsunade stood up directly, stepped on the stool with her white high heels, and her eyes were full of provocation. Mirror. Do you dare to come and have a few drinks with me? It doesn't matter. If you can't drink, just say you can't drink. You men always not good at this, haha. Okay, just come. Uchiha Kagami agreed. He couldn't help but feel funny in his heart. Tsunade was planning to make him drunk. I wanted to take revenge on him by spying on her taking a bath before, but little did he know that the wine in this world is all sake, which is far inferior to those real spirits. Want to make him drunk and make a fool of himself. Then let's see, who will be drunk by then? Uchiha Kagami waved his hand and said boldly, what's the point of just drinking? Shisui, put on the dice cup, today. I want to get drunk with Tsunade. Okay, Grandpa. Shisui walked out from Jonin's desk. He walked into the house and took out 2 pairs of dice cups and handed them to them. Tsunade and Kagami each held a pair of dice cups, and their eyes looked at each other with a sense of confrontation, but everyone around them was watching the fun. Tsunade vowed, you dare to play dice with me. Mirror, do you know I have a nickname? What nickname? Jing asked with a smile. Konoha's little gambling king. Oh, then who is the big gambling king? Of course it's my grandfather, Senju Hashirama. The 2 of us are called the twin kings of Konoha. Okay, let me see it today. Uchiha Kagami took a precaution in advance. I promised you in advance, if you lose too much, don't be impatient. Whoever is anxious is stupid. Tsunade rolled up his sleeves. Since it's your first time to play, let's make it simple and compare the big and small. 3 dice, only the big and small, whoever adds up to the higher 3 dice wins. The loser gets a drink, and the winner doesn't drink. Are you sure? What if you keep losing? Jing looked strange. Am I going to lose? I'm Konoha's little gambling king. Tsunade is very confident. The 2 immediately started shaking the dice cup. After a few shakes, they both opened the cups at the same time. Tsunade scored 123 points and the mirror 234. I was defeated by you in a small game, come again. Good. I'm at 9. I'm at 10. You drink. Come again. I'm at 11. I'll definitely win this time. Sorry, I'm just a little older than you, drink. Come again. Tsunade does not believe in evil. I tried the dice cup again and again, but lost every time. Drinking 1 glass after another, even though the alcohol content of the sake was low, my face turned red after drinking too much. Mirror. Did you cheat? I don't. You must have cheated. Otherwise, why didn't I win once? Maybe you're just out of luck. Uchiha Kagami is holding back a laugh. Why can't you win? Don't you have any idea? Every time he bets, he loses, just like Senju Hashirama. The only time he won was with Jiraiya. Result: Jiraiya failed to come back. Death at the hands of pain. At that moment you wished you had lost. Mirror planned to stop there, but Tsunade was unwilling until Tsunade shook it again, peeked at the dice inside, and suddenly became excited. Ha ha ha. Tsunade opened the dice cup, looked up to the sky and laughed. 3 sixes, leopard, 18 points. The highest point. How can you beat me? Mirror, this time, I, Tsunade, will bet everything with you. The loser drinks up the table all the wine served. You sure? Uchiha Kagami coughed a few times. Tsunade, why don't you leave yourself some way out? Why do you want to stay? How can Philongchi lose? Tsunade waved his hand, his face full of confidence. Are you scared? Quick, open the dice cup. I don't believe you can beat me like this. All right. Uchiha Kagami opened the dice cup. There are 3 dice inside, all 3 sixes. But one of the dice was missing one side, and it was placed next to it, and it was clearly one, which was just a little bigger than Tsunade. Uchiha Kagami shrugged his shoulders. Sorry, I'm 19, so I still win. What? Tsunade's eyes widened immediately, and he was furious. You actually shattered a dice surface with brute force. Forcibly adding a little more. You still said you didn't cheat. Where's the cheating? You didn't say you couldn't use brute force at the beginning, right? You can definitely shake me. Who can stop me? Uchiha Kagami blinked. Tsunade, you are a Konoha Sannin, you are not going to cheat, are you? I know how. Jing, just wait. I will definitely beat you next time. Tsunade's silver teeth were almost broken. But with her character, she really can't say anything shameless. So he immediately gathered 10 bottles of sake on the table and started blowing one bottle after another. After drinking 3 bottles in a row, his face turned red. He burped several times and started to stagger. Okay, Tsunade, stop drinking. If you drink any more you'll get drunk. I'm not drunk. Let me drink. I'm telling the truth, but I'm not like someone who just cheats. Uchiha Kagami walked over and stopped her. But Tsunade opened it and insisted on drinking the rest. The scene became a bit chaotic. Everyone present felt that the two people seemed to have a bad temper, and one wanted to confront the other. But Konoha Sanin's status is too high. Few people dared to persuade him, let alone a big shot like Jing. Okay, I'll do the rest. Uchiha Kagami pulled her behind her. I drank the remaining 7 bottles in a row, my face still unchanged, but I had a hiccup after drinking too fast. Tsunade looked at him, pouting unappreciatively. Who asked you to drink it? This is mine. If I lose, it's mine. Okay, it's yours. If you win next time, the wine will offset it. Jing reassured. HMPH, okay. I will definitely beat you next time. I seem to be a little dizzy. Tsunade was shaking, with tears in his eyes. Why are there so many pieces of wood here? Is that my grandfather? Grandpa, little Tsunade, I miss you, woo-woo. Okay, I'll take you home. Uchiha Kagami helped Tsunade away. Before leaving, he glanced at Shisui and Fugaku. The two understand each other. Fugaku represents the face of the family, and Shisui wants to apologize on behalf of his grandfather and those around him. Although no one cares, but you still need to do surface engineering, otherwise it would be rude. On the other hand, Uchiha Kagami took Tsunade back to her home, held her on the bed, and looked at her face up and down. The skin is white and tender, and can be broken by blowing. She was obviously 1 year younger than him, but she still looked like an 18-year-old girl. Her large breasts were rising and falling, making people look at her. At this time, Tsunade blushed and blinked her beautiful eyes. Is it big? Big, huh? Are you not drunk? Jing was stunned for a moment. You don't know whether I'm drunk or not. Just like the last time you peeked at me taking a bath, you obviously saw it, but you insisted that you didn't see it. Tsunade curled his lips. The fog when you were taking a bath was too foggy. I really didn't see much, but I saw a little bit, just a little bit. I didn't mean it. Uchiha Kagami admitted that he was in the wrong. Is it okay if it wasn't intentional? You have to be responsible. Tsunade pursed his lips. What? You think I'm not good enough for you? No, of course you are worthy. You are my eldest brother's granddaughter. If we become one, wouldn't the seniority be messed up? It's just chaos, I don't care anyway. Who let you look at my body, huh? Quote. Uchiha Kagami is a bit messy. What originally worried him was his relationship with Kato-dan. As a result, after Tsunade's explanation, although Kato-dan was still alive, due to the second Hokage who was in power at the time. Although there were several Jonin meetings at that time. But it was the time after the death of the sacred tree that Kato-dan agreed to Tsunade's proposal to join the medical ninja, and the two fell in love. That time happened to be the time when Kagami pretended to learn the spiritualization technique. Kato-dan did not attend the Jonin meeting, so he missed this opportunity. There was no emotional connection between the two. The reason why Tsunade has a good impression of him is because not long after the Third Ninja War ended, he resurrected Nawaki with impure world reincarnation. Certainly, it's more because of his personal charm. After all, Kage is now a living legend in the ninja world, a strong man comparable to Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama, and women always admire the strong. Tsunade was no exception, but she didn't dare say that. But a few days ago, Jing accidentally peeked at her taking a shower, which made her aware of this opportunity. Seeing him stunned and silent, Tsunade suddenly felt aggrieved. Mirror, don't like me? Of course I do. Uchiha Kagami did not deny it. Let me ask, who can resist the charm of Tsunade? You can't be picky about your figure alone. I've always asked you if you were attracted to me at the age of 18. Then what do you like about me? Please tell me in detail. Tsunade's eyes were charming. Your figure. Honest. Then I'll reward you. Tsunade's eyes were as charming as silk and she held him in her arms. Uchiha Kagami's vision suddenly went dark, and he was fascinated by the magnificent waves on his chest. At first, Jing looked like he was enjoying it, but he felt that the air was getting thinner and he was almost suffocating. Okay, enough is enough, it's too tight. Quote. Tsunade let him go. His eyes were full of admiration and love. Uchiha Kagami scratched his head and asked, then let me ask you too, what do you like about me? Do I think you like me too hastily? That's too much. You're a good drinker. You're much better than those thin dogs. You are so strong. I admired my grandfather the most when I was a child. You are no less than him now. Of course I like you. And you are kind to people and take good care of the village. Although some teachers have some opinions on you, especially after Danzo died. But I know very well that you are doing it for the good of Konoha. There is no future for the village if it is left to them. Quote. And you had a wife before, but you haven't married again for so many years, which proves that you are consistent in your feelings. This is what I care about most. There are too many advantages to count. Why should I not like you? Then I'm really good. Uchiha Kagami blushed. If anyone praised him, he wouldn't believe it. But for such a big and beautiful fairy to praise him, he felt that these were facts. The two just stared at each other. Tsunade's face became increasingly red, and he came over with charming eyes and kissed the mirror between his eyebrows. It left a red lip mark. Tsunade didn't think much and blinked her beautiful eyes. Mirror, I want to give you the necklace my grandfather left me. It can be regarded as a token of love between the two of us. Is that okay? What? Cursed necklace. Well, Uchiha Kagami was frightened. Why don't you keep such a valuable thing for yourself? Huh, mirror, what do you mean? Tsunade was a little angry. What's wrong with the preciousness? It's just because it's precious that you give it to the one you love. I only gave it to Naoki, the necklace my grandfather left me. Are you going to reject my offer now? Well, have you ever thought, you gave Naoki a necklace, and Naoki died not long ago. Is there an invisible curse on the necklace? Uchiha Kagami asked cautiously. That was just an accident, okay. Sure enough, you just don't want to. Woohoo. Tsunade pouted and felt aggrieved, almost crying. Uchiha Kagami is very helpless. This necklace, I really don't want to wear it. It's hard to say whether the necklace your grandfather left behind was an accident. The original book you gave to Naoki died not long after. It was given to Kato-dan died, and it was given to Naruto. Naruto didn't die. But it almost died quickly. Naruto would have died if Nine Tails hadn't gone berserk and crushed the necklace. Besides, Naruto is the protagonist, and he can't be cursed to death no matter what, and although he is extremely powerful now, he is also taboo about such things. Besides, are you strong now? That is, except for Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama, he is considered the number one in the ninja world. But in the later stage, this strength is not enough. At least you have to be at the Six Paths level to be able to ignore it. With the current mortal body, what if it really comes true? After thinking for a long time, Uchiha Kagami considered it and said, Don't cry, Tsunade, let's do this. You take me to Shigu Forest to find Katsuyu Sage. When I master the magic of Shigu Forest, I will wear this necklace. So, you are with me just for the magic of Shigulan. Tsunade said in a bad tone. No, how did you? Okay, then I'll take you there. Tsunade blinked her beautiful eyes. It's not like he's too temperamental. After all, Jing is also someone who wants to show off his face. After all, he is a well-known figure in Konoha. We just got together and we can't be too presumptuous. We can't bully him like Jiraiya. How to get there? Where is Shigo Forest? Uchiha Kagami asked curiously. I don't know the specific location. Anyway, let's just use the reverse summoning technique. But after all, I want to take outsiders there, so it's better to be safe. Tsunade thought for a moment and said, I'll summon a Katsuyu split body first and notify Katsuyu Sage, otherwise you won't be able to get in. Good. Tsunade nodded. The two walked out, summoning out a huge Katsuyu. After a little explanation, there was basically no problem. After Katsuyu disappeared, Tsunade performed the reverse summoning technique. Poof! The two of them disappeared on the spot. The next second, the two people appeared in the wet bone forest. There are all extremely tall woods here, each big tree is tens or even hundreds of meters tall, and the air here is full of moisture. Is this the marsh bone forest? Uchiha Kagami felt very novel. You must know that each of the three holy places has its own characteristics. Mount Myoboku is like a fairyland on earth. Ruchi Cave is in a cave, and the darkness is chilling. There were only trees here, and each tree was tall, long and thick, but the strange thing was that he thought it would be covered with human bones. But instead of, It's actually very clean. And what comes into view is. It's a gigantic Katsuyu. He couldn't describe her size, but the tailed beast was just a bigger cat in front of him. Uchiha Kagami sighed. It's so big. The huge Katsuyu sage made a soft female voice. You two are here. My split body has told me in advance. I didn't expect, as a new legend of the ninja world, you actually came to me. Have you heard of me? Jing asked curiously. Tsunade has mentioned it more than once. She likes you very much, but you seem to be curious. Why is it called Shigo Forest when there are no bones here? Katsuyu sage said gently. Why? Because I have no bones. I am a soft-bodied creature. There are many very tall trees here. Due to my body, the air here is very humid, so it is called Shimobone Forest. Katsuyu sage explained. Well, I understand. What is missing is what it is. Uchiha Kagami said patiently. But before I learn senjutsu, can you explain to me the differences in senjutsu? Ruchi Cave, Mount Myoboku, and Shigo Forest are all three sacred places. The characteristics of senjutsu should be different, right? Quote. Yes, as long as you learn senjutsu, your ninja, body, and illusion will be greatly improved. Senjutsu is a combination of physical energy, spiritual energy, and natural energy, but each has its own focus. Katsuyu sage said slowly. The first is the senjutsu of Mount Myoboku. You should have heard that little guy from Jiraiya mention it. Their senjutsu is called free senjutsu, and it focuses more on the perception and manipulation of natural energy. Among the three great magic arts, the perception ability is particularly outstanding, and the ability to use natural energy very skillfully, such as invisible attacks. The disadvantage is that it requires a certain amount of time to meditate, the duration is not long, and it has frog eyes. The immortal technique of Shigu Forest, also known as Ultimate Immortal Technique, focuses more on the increase of spiritual energy and can greatly increase mental ability. The Sharingan of your Uchiha clan is the external manifestation of spiritual energy. In fact, learning Shigu Lin's magic is the most suitable. But, since Kokushinjutsu requires a peaceful mind to learn, and not an anxious mind like Shisui, the Uchiha clan has extremely extreme personalities, so it has become one of the biggest problems in learning. Uchiha Kagami raised his eyebrows slightly. Ultimate Senjutsu. It focuses more on spiritual energy. It seems that if you cast illusions and other types of magic, it will be greatly improved. That's true, but it's more than that. The magical skills of Shigulin can greatly improve the spiritual level, and you can always stay calm in battle. Not panic when encountering chaos. This is the so-called ultimate intention. Katsuyu sage said. But to cast ultimate senjutsu requires longer meditation, but the duration will be very long. Far better than Mount Myoboku's senjutsu. What about Ruchi Cave senjutsu? Kaoru asked. Ruchi Cave senjutsu, also known as domineering senjutsu is famous for its violent and domineering effects, and the most obvious increase is in the physical body. The meditation time is very short, and the maintenance time is average, but it is stronger than Mount Myoboku, but only on the head it has horns and its eyes have snake pupils. Katsuyu sage explained. However, Mount Myoboku's celestial art is based on fate, and my Shigo Forest is about one drink and one peck. Only people who are close and trustworthy can teach celestial arts. Only Ruchi Cave allows outsiders to learn celestial arts. We welcome everyone who comes. As long as you pass the three major tests, you can obtain immortal skills. White Snake Sennin will inject natural energy with his teeth. Once he can't bear it anymore, he will transform into a snake and be eaten directly by the snakes in Ruchi Cave. Only those who desperately pursue power at all costs should go to Ruchi Cave. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.